That was so killer.
Yeah,
That was so killer.
that was quite the 2-pack. I get you pumped up.
Dude,
I
I was fired up.
What got me, because you were talking about that movie not too long ago, that song at least from Killer Party.
Oh, yeah.
And it'd been years since I'd seen it, and I recently got the Scream Factory Blu-ray. That movie's all over the place, but when that band breaks out, like in the middle of the opening part of that movie, I was like, I don't know what the hell's going on, but this is killer.
It's so killer. That won me over the first time I saw that movie, like right away. I was like, dude, this is gonna be great. And it is all over the place. It's like horror movie / like it's kind of like a teen comedy, like a bachelor party or Animal House or something. You know, it's interesting.
Yeah, it's all over the place. And it is April Fool's Day. We're doing this, it kind of makes sense. And we were talking about this too. All the April Fool's horror movies were made in 1986, at least all the ones everybody talks about. That's bizarre as well. Like they were trying to beat each other to the punch.
It's like everybody discovered a new holiday in that same year. Like horror films around, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
April
good.
Fool's Day is not as creepy as like Friday the 13th, though, right? I mean,
No.
No, definitely not. It's cool though. I always like I don't know if you guys know, but like April Fool's Day, the movie has a lot of the same cast from a movie that I like, just one of the guys. So it's very interesting that it's got like pretty much a lot of the same cast in April Fool's Day, which is kind of cool.
yeah, and that's
Yeah,
a Paramount movie too. So
Yeah.
The dude who's like the main crush or whatever
Yeah.
that she has, and just one of the guys is also, like one
And
of the
then
main
Deborah
guys. Yeah.
is in it as well. Yeah, that's cool.
You know, isn't that something we've never really talked about? But Deborah Foreman had an amazing run of like 80s movies and then completely fell off the face of the fucking earth. Like Valley Girl, April Fool's Day, Waxwork, God, what were some of the other ones like around that time too? Sundown. Like there was just, she had like a bunch of movies in the 80s.
well, she's doing yoga now, man.
Is she?
like
I
the
think
big
she's going to
thing.
be at Chiller Theater that I'm going to, that convention. I'm pretty sure she's there, actually. So it'd be pretty cool.
So yeah, welcome everybody. There's a packed house already.
Yeah.
Go through them here real quick. Let me scroll up. Jesus Christ. Oh, Curly Jaws, of course. He was the first one to post it.
Yeah,
He's
I
in
saw
there.
that he sent me a link earlier. Sorry, dude. I've been rushing around all day. I basically just made it here by the seat of my pants. So
Yeah, I mean, most of my plan was today is I was going to prepare for this show. But I didn't realize that the first and the third of the month checks come out today at the same damn
Oh
time.
my God, dude.
I did for some reason I was like, well, I'll just have time and I'll fool with it. Yeah, I didn't have time to do jack nor shit today.
I made the mistake of actually going into a store today, having like it didn't connect in my mind or whatever. And like I walked in, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? There's like a line like all the way out like to almost the door. And then somebody was like, "Yeah, this is what it's like on the first." I was like, "Oh shit!" Like it is the first of the month.
Yeah, I'm sure that's another deal. Like we've got gravy and biscuits here, and you don't. I'm sure up there it's probably not the same.
It's definitely maybe it's not the same, but you definitely know when you go to Walmart on those days.
Okay.
You know why everybody's walking out with TVs and stuff.
TVs and beer.
Yeah, you always know everybody's like going big screens on those days. But yeah, so no, I'm excited for tonight. It's a little bit different. I think it'll be fun. It'll be cool. We'll get some interaction going. And again,
sure.
I apologize that I'm glad it's a full house or a packing house because, like I said, I really did minimal promoting because I was just going at it all day today.
You were sipping champagne, eating fucking crab legs. had like a little tea set. You were like, "Oh yeah, it's very good." Yeah.
Would you like some Grey Poupon, sir?
Nah, it wasn't that kind of meeting.
GCBAXIA is in the house. He says, "Let's go, good vibes." Is there another way to pronounce that name? I don't know, but Mark, Adam 80s fan, John Cressup, Ken Carlson is in the house.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, this is like quite the undertaking to try to do this in one show, and I don't think we'll be able to. We can kind of touch on some things here and there, but yeah, I mean, you can make separate shows for each one of these, like horror hosts. You could do a whole show on that. You could do a whole show on anthology TV shows. Direct to TV show, like what do they call them? TV movies.
Made for TV movies.
Made for TV movies. There you go.
Yeah, I tried to separate mine into those two categories at least, like the made for TV movies and just like the horror TV shows. And there's like, I've got like 25, 30 horror TV shows on this list. And then there's, the TV movies, like you said, the Joe Bob kind of stuff, and like it goes in a bunch of different directions.
Adam 80s fan is, who was asking that? Scott, wondering if Scott Steiner, Big Papa Pump. No, he's busy tonight.
Oh, that's right. You know what? We're also competing with, like, we've got some shows coming this weekend. Like, we're competing with WrestleMania tonight, right? Hall of Fame or something? That's
the Hall of Fame, started right at 10 o'clock as well.
So I'll probably check that out when we're done. But I always like the Hall of Fame.
They're doing it a little different this time, though. I don't know, like, thinking there's only going to be a couple of speeches on there or whatever. It's not going to be like the olden days, man. I loved watching that more than WrestleMania because it was like 4 hours long. They let them say whatever the hell they wanted to on there.
No, I like that too.
Yeah.
Some of the best ones were like where they let people like the Iron Sheik and Flair and stuff just talk. And they didn't really say anything related to what was going on, but it was like the most entertaining part of the whole weekend.
Yeah, we got a lot of people throwing some stuff out already. We're going to get to all that. I want to try to catch up with the chat real quick here. Bradley Taylor is in the house. Happy April Fool's Day.
Happy April Fool's Day.
Dark Corner Media. What's going on, man?
What's up, man?
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. I don't know.
It's time.
What time is it?
It's time. No, it's not Vader time.
All right, so Matt Ray is in the house as well. He was putting over the HBO opening. Says that was part of my DNA as a kid. So many of my favorite movies. And I think that's the thing with, like, I kind of want to touch on too. Because a lot of movies that we love now was in some form seen originally on TV. I know as a young kid, HBO played the hell out of like Return of the Living Dead, and The Hitcher was one they played quite often, and Day of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, stuff like that. Lots of dead stuff.
Yeah, I think Return of the Living Dead is the one that I remember seeing the most. Like, in terms of HBO, Jesus Christ. That thing was on like every day.
Norin Rad 89, what's up? How you doing?
What's up, man?
Baby Herman is in the house. Vinegar Syndrome translation.
I saw that picture for a split second and sent it to these guys. I really didn't like read upon what is that about? Is that like an April Fool's thing? Was that real? What was the deal with it?
I'm pretty sure it's got to be an April Fool's joke because it's just the guy like holding his hand like that, and there's clearly nothing in it.
You know what I thought it was, and but it was too cheap, right? It was $6 or something or whatever.
Yeah,
I was thinking that they hired like a makeup effects guy to make an arm that would hold your movie, like a display stand.
that would be something they would do. Yeah.
Well, you know what I thought it was?
Yeah.
I thought it was like, like people are getting those like those little hard plastics that you can put over your slips.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
I thought it was one of those.
Beginning.
Like maybe they were doing their own that like fit over their VSA titles because they're a unique size. So I thought maybe that was what they were selling, but I was confused on why there was nothing there. So
I mean, and you know what's funny? I'll guarantee you a bunch of people fucking tried to buy that, which is basically the equivalent of buying nothing, like buying air.
like I spent $6 on where's my thing I got?
I saw somebody say that they immediately got credited $6 back or something. So it may be some sort of April Fool's joke that they just kind of wanted to see. Maybe it was a bet, at Vinegar Syndrome. How many orders of this bullshit are we going to get for $6? I don't know. My Killer Podcast is in the house.
What's up, Mel?
What's going on?
What's
up? Our good buddy, the White Castle aficionado, X Invictus X, is on here. He's getting his old name back, Uncle Bill. Everybody recognizes him now.
I know.
Except me, I don't.
That's Jason Payne.
Yeah, that was the name back in the day.
Oh, is it? Really? What's up, Jay?
Don't forget about Dirty DeLarla.
We cannot forget about Jamie Hart. What's going on? And you can tell that she doesn't know me or Uncle Bill very well because she called us gentlemen. Garrett is the only gentleman in this room.
I tried. I do my best.
I feel like that Owen Hart's music should hit. Just the old music, not the fucking. I tried to be a nice guy music, but
not the nugget, whatever. Like.
Go through some more names here real quick, trying to get caught up. Vanderhoff, what's going on? Ali Hamoud, Long Live USA Up All Night. We'll definitely talk about that. Dirty Delarna is talking some serious mad shit about Vinegar Syndrome that I'm not going to repeat on here because there might be a slim chance that we can monetize this video.
Very slim.
Lucio Inferno is in the house. Rick Patterson, Day of the Dead. Yeah. Day of the Dead I feel that Day of the Dead, looking back on it, was the one that was on TV the most. I don't know why, but it seems like that was the one that I always caught on TV. Dawn of the Dead was on probably the least.
That's what I was thinking. You never see that on TV or anywhere, really.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm pretty much caught up. I want to try to, because we want the chat to be lively tonight. I don't know if Uncle Bill has access to pull the chat up on the screen as well.
Yeah, I can see
that helps too. So, kicking it off, though, kind of go a little bit in chronological order, and then we can go through these different aspects of horror on television. What's the first thing that you guys think of when, horror on TV? What is it? Is it a show? Is it a movie?
Salem's Lot.
That's a good one.
That's my number one. It's one of my favorite movies, and the fact that it was a TV movie or / miniseries, it just still boggles my mind because I feel like that thing is just so killer in all ends. And I don't think I've ever actually seen the cut back movie version ever. I don't think. I think I've only seen the long miniseries. So I think what they said, it was not only were pieces cut, but there was other stuff maybe added that isn't on the full length one. Mm-hmm. Have you guys seen that?
If I'm not mistaken, I think overseas there is a DVD cut, maybe a Blu-ray cut of the TV cut version of it or whatever, which is, there's nothing new added, right? It's just like it's cut down to like 90 minutes or something.
I heard there was some different stuff that wasn't in the long version, but not, I don't think a lot, but I think they might have put something else in, but then they took a lot out. So I'd be curious to kind of check it out. someday. I don't know why I've never really found it. I know you can find a VHS because that one says full length miniseries, but I think there's one VHS I've seen that says the movie that's out there. So, yeah. How about you guys? What do you think?
The first thing that I thought of was like either Tales from the Dark Side or Tales from the Crypt. Like those are the two. When I think about like TV horror related stuff, like that, those are the two series that like immediately pop into my head. And spent like the better part of like all of my childhood watching one of those two series in one way or another, either on HBO or just on regular network TV. I don't remember what Tales from the Dark Side came on now. Like I don't know what channel it was on.
That's still got one of the probably the creepiest openings ever. Like I still just love that whole like little theme thing they had. It was just so creepy at the time.
And that monologue too, like it's almost like unforgettable. Every line that dude says.
No, I agree.
It's definitely Tales from the Dark Side for me. But there was a period here, and we'll talk about it when we get into these anthology shows, where horror was so popular in the mid to late 80s, throughout the entire decade, more than likely, where these shows were coming out. You had Tales from the Dark Side, The Hitchhiker, Ray Bradbury Theater, right? So they were so popular, they were bringing the old shows back.
Yeah.
So
Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
As a kid, I got to see Alfred Hitchcock Presents, and I love that shit. Like, honestly, as a kid, I probably watched that show more than, I think Twilight Zone was on as well, because they had an 80s Twilight Zone that came out. But I think that was the show that, like, I kind of watched the most, because it was always on Nick at Night, back in the mid to late 80s, I guess, whenever I started watching it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you all, but probably Tales from the Crypt was one of my first experiences with like actually seeing gore and things like that in related to horror, because I mean it was kind of billed as a Tales from the Dark Side kind of, or like Twilight Zone-ish kind of, but it was like on cable, so it was super gory and like everything in it, profanity and gore and things like that. So that had to be like one of my first experiences with like people letting me watch shit that was probably really inappropriate for that time period too.
Real quick here, we did get a super chat. I was almost missed it. Adam 80s fan, 1999 Bulls. He says Dead Pit for life. Appreciate it, sir. Should we? Yeah, let's do it.
But,
hang on.
Oh Lord.
Hawkins, what's going on in here? Did we get a super chat again?
Damon.
Yeah. So how do you want to break this up? Do you want to do like we talked about and hit up some movies first and then kind of move from there? Just to keep it kind of organized?
Let's just roll with it, because a lot of this stuff, I mean, it's a lot of stuff to get through, and as far as individual episodes and stuff like that, I mean, we really can't do that. It would take for fucking ever, I would think. So,
yeah, some of these,
some
of these I've got. If it's a bigger name show that I was actually really a big fan of, like let's say like a Tales from the Dark Side, I've just got like a couple of my favorite episodes, like out from it. Not to say like to go through the plot of every episode, but at least like mention some of the
when we get to that, we definitely can talk about that, because a lot of them I would love to hear, because they get, to me, a lot of them get mixed in with a lot of other anthologies or shows, and it'd be nice to see which ones you say, because I forget where certain episodes are just throughout the year. So, but how do you want to start it, man? You guys want to start with a couple movies? Just we can kind of throw out. Take some turns.
I mean, I'm cool with going through movies. I made a little bit of a list here. Most of them are in the 80s. So yeah,
80s or 90s, yeah.
Whoever wants to go, rock
so
and roll.
I mean, we could start with Salem's Lot and just kind of, I kind of said what I thought about it. I absolutely love it, and then I know at least I know Wes does as well. And Uncle Bill, are you the same?
Salem's Lot I just watched probably about 2 or 3 months ago again for the first time in like a really long time. That movie is probably the best of Tobe Hooper's stuff, other than like Chainsaw, because it takes all of like, it's terrifying. That whole movie is freaking terrifying. Like some of the scenes in it, still like stay with you to this day. The scratching on the window scenes, the scene with him sitting in the rocking chair, like there's just so many great. The scene with opening the coffin towards the end, like there's so many great scenes in it that I think that it's actually kind of underrated. I mean, people talk about it and everything, but that's one of the best examples of like.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, if you take a guy like Hooper and like you give him enough resources and he's already kind of got a plan for what he wants to do, and then he makes something that's like that, which is to me like the second best thing he ever did.
Now, as far as TV miniseries, though, that's what I was going to ask about. Was that one of the very first ones? This was what, 1979?
Yeah, I mean, it was in the 70s. I believe it was 79. I could be wrong, but you know what about this movie as well is that not only do I love it, it just has a real nice tone to it. I don't know why. I think the same thing about like something like The Fog. Like those are two movies that I can kind of watch anytime and just kind of just almost chill out. Like it's just an easy watch. It's long, but I don't know. It's just very interesting to me. I don't know what it is, but my uncle and a guy I used to work with, both big movie buffs, both of them said the same thing to me. When they saw that thing air on TV for the first time, it was like, it gave them nightmares, and they had to like ride their bikes home from their friend's house and after the first part or whatever. And they said it was like nothing they could never forget. And then remember they had to like wait to see the next part the next night or something like that, or the next week. And they said it just kind of freaked them out. And my uncle's name being Mark, with the scratching of the thing, hey, Mark, let me in. He said it literally like freaked him out. Because I think at the time he was like a young kid, like probably like 12 or something like that.
Well, that's one of the great parts about that movie too, is that it dealt with kids. So, like, if you're a kid in that era, and, like, there's all kinds of horrific scenes that deal with kind of, like, pre-adolescent kids in that movie. So, it would scare the living shit out. Same thing with It, which is another one to get to later on. But, like, the subject matter in those films, like, I mean, if you were of that age, and I was, like, around the same age as the kids in It when it came out, like, with Salem's Lot, if you were of that age at that time, like, I can imagine that shit was terrifying.
I thought it was an interesting casting choice for Barlow in Salem's Lot was an elderly man, right? And he had him made up like, I guess, Nosferatu or whatever. And it looks so different, really, like, than anything else. I mean, they did the old school Nosferatu, but this one, it just turned it up a little bit, the creepiness factor. And then the movie, like you said, it is long. It's like, 3 hours long? Mm-hmm. I think that's why a lot of people don't love it like a lot of us. I mean, it seems like a lot of people, it's just kind of, when it comes to these longer movies, people just don't have the attention span unless it's something, Marvel Comics related or whatever. Right. And they'll check it out all day. But I think it's underrated too. I mean, honestly, and it's bizarre that this movie has not received any sort of special edition treatment at all. The DVD was bare bones. The Blu-ray's pretty much bare bones. It did have a steelbook, which that's what I've got. But as far as special features and all that, alternate cuts, none of that's on there.
I mean, think about how easy that would be, even if they just gave us alternate both versions, right? Like that alone, I think, would be something that people would like,
Anthony, another $10 super chat, man.
Hell yeah, boys.
It. Just made it in here. My stream ran a little longer than expected. There's a lot of streaming going on tonight.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on.
WWE's streaming the Hall of Fame right now on the cock. So Jamie Hart said it was 79, and she watched it in real time.
Wow.
Jamie was 6 months old and watched it on her.
That's right.
That's funny.
Yeah. So yeah, Salem's Lot, high recommendation, I think, from all of us. Didn't you guys think there was like a feeling of dread throughout that entire movie as well?
Definitely.
Yeah, and you're knee deep in atmosphere throughout that movie.
Yeah, you can't hardly really explain it, but yeah.
Oh, I got this. Last convention I went to, I met the guy who played Mark.
Oh,
shit. He signed a little cross there for me.
Sweet.
You destroy the master?
So, one that I wanted to mention that nobody talks about, and it's not really considered even that good of a movie now at this point because it hasn't aged well.
I swear to God, if you mention the same one I'm thinking of, I'll kill your ass.
He probably is, knowing you guys.
I know what he's going to do. Yeah, go ahead.
So, I think it came out 87, right? Are we thinking the same movie?
No, I don't think we are. I hope we're not.
Yeah, that would be totally bizarre if we would have thought of the same movie because this movie's not very good, like I said. But I have crazy nostalgia for this movie. One of the very first, possibly the first horror TV movie that I'd ever seen. And it is the original Bates Motel.
Oh. No, I would not have fucking picked that.
1987 with Lori Petty and Bud Cort, brother.
Tank Girl herself, dude.
So, yeah, this is one of the early examples where, and Psycho 2 had come out, what year was Psycho 2? 82?
82, yeah.
82, and Psycho 3 was about 86, I'm thinking.
I couldn't tell you when Psycho
I think both of those
3
were
came
out. And then they decided, hey, we're going to completely forget about those movies and go a different direction with... so what it is, Bud Cort was in the mental institution with Anthony Perkins, Norman Bates. And Norman leaves him the Bates Motel for when he gets out. Norman dies in that universe. Dies in prison or the asylum. And freaky things start happening around the hotel, including a zombie Norma Bates.
Dude, that is the weirdest reimagining, I guess, of the Psycho. Just because that is such an odd choice for that character, too. Like, I remember when you had me watch that, and I was like, this really looks like the guy just doesn't fit in that for some reason. I mean, it's fine. It's serviceable and everything. But it's just... Maybe it's just the idea of seeing somebody else in that role, or maybe it's actually him. It's just bizarre to me.
He is a weird-looking guy. Have you ever seen this movie, Garrett?
No, never.
Really? It's on...
No.
They did a multi-pack. It's on DVD. That's the only thing that ever come on DVD. I mean, I think it's still got some creepy stuff in it, though. When you first see the hotel and the house and stuff again, it's in like this... I don't know. Maybe it hasn't aged as well as some movies. But that's the one film that nobody ever talks about. And it was originally planned to be a anthology TV series. The pilot was the movie was the pilot, but it of course bombed. Everybody kind of hated it, but I've got some crazy nostalgic love for that movie.
You always have too. Is a really weird part about it. Like you've got the biggest heart on for that movie, and it's such an odd fucking movie. Like if anybody out there hasn't seen it, you need to see it because it's out there.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I knew about it, and I'm thinking maybe it's because you had brought it up maybe on the show before I even knew you really well. Maybe you used to talk about it because I knew it existed. I just have never seen it, and I can remember hearing somebody kind of champion it a little bit. Maybe it was you from years and years ago.
Bug-Eyed Betty's in here for you, Garrett.
Hi.
Hey.
And well, speaking of Psycho, though, is Psycho 4, was that a TV movie? Was that a direct sequel to TV?
That's
television?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Which
Mick
is
Garris, buddy.
Which is an interesting one. As a kid, I had the tape. Like, I think all 4 were on, like, a Saturday, and I taped them all on, like, a VHS tape. So I used to watch those a lot. And I kind of liked part 4. It was different. It was weird. But, there was scenes that still stick out to me to this day, like the one with him and his mom at the church and stuff.
Yeah, they don't let Mick Garris make studio movies anymore. They haven't for a long time.
What's interesting though is that they eventually did make a Bates Motel TV series 30 years after the fact or whatever it was, 20 years out, 25 years after the fact, and it was a huge hit. It did really well, but it was more of a prequel story than a sequel story.
Right.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and pick one that I watched not too long ago, and I'd forgotten like how much that I actually like this TV movie and how much that actually kind of got buried or nobody ever really talks about it anymore. And I don't know the year that it came out. I imagine it was sometime in the early 90s. Sometimes they come back. That is actually a horrifying fucking movie that still holds up to this day, in my opinion. Because for the sole reason of the people that they got to play the greasers in that movie are all really good and they're all solid actors. The main guy, who I cannot think of his name, but the main greaser character in that.
Robert Rustler.
No, he was like the second main guy. There's another guy that's kind of like the head. But he is absolutely like one of the most hateable characters in any movie. And that movie is hardcore, by the way. Like, I mean, there's a lot of scenes in that movie that I can't even believe that you wouldn't normally even see in like a studio film. Like they got into a TV movie.
Yeah, that's another one I feel that, you know, it's underrated, but I think that, did it even have a Blu-ray release?
I've got the DVD. I don't have.
Okay. I have the DVD as well, and they spawned a couple sequels from it. So I think I have like 3 DVDs. I know sometimes they come back again, and then I think there's one more.
Sometimes they come back for more.
Something like that. There's like one with that's what it's called. I remember like the Hand in Snow or something.
That's like really what it's called. Yeah.
Huh. Now I forget which one is which because I think when I used to watch them all back to back to back. Wasn't there one where something with like a lawnmower? Like a kill with like a lawnmower or something. Maybe it's not the movie I'm thinking of, but it's been a while since I've seen
I watched Sometimes They Come Back Again around the same time I watched Sometimes They Come Back. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember anything about that one. I remember it was terrible. But
yeah, I think we reviewed those. Didn't they come out on DVD right together or something back in the day?
I think so.
They did, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure those.
My friend Mike really digs that one
page.
A lot.
I just think that movie it's super uncomfortable to watch and has really, really good performances in it, but nobody ever references it anymore at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's as good as like it for sure. I mean, the original.
Stuntman Mark says it is on Blu-ray. I don't know if it's just a bare bones release, but I mean, I wouldn't mind getting it because I think that is one that I have to revisit because it's been many, many years since I've seen that movie. And so I have a tough time remembering like, you know, exact pieces of it, but I always remember liking it because my friend Mike really digs it.
It's got a classic kind of setup in the beginning. Like it's the older brother and the younger brother, and they go into this train tunnel, and like the greasers come up in their car and kind of like messing with him, trying to like take his money or something like that. And then a train comes through and like hits the car and kills everybody, including his brother. But Tim Matheson lives and goes on like, and that's the whole set. So then they come back like 20, 30 years later. That's kind of the setup for the movie.
Yeah, I remember. It's been forever since I've seen it, but it is a really good movie, and it's so good that you would think, why didn't they come out with it in theaters?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know Tim Matheson stars in it, so maybe that's why he's not the biggest name. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good one for sure.
All right, the next one I'm going to bring up is one that I actually sent you, and it was Summer of Fear with Linda Blair. Always a big fan of that one. Again, I've said it before. I'm a big Linda Blair fan, so I was really into a lot of the stuff that she did, and I always thought Summer of Fear was pretty cool. I do get that confused, though, a lot with another movie. I think it was Romero's movie there, Season of the Witch, right? He had that was him, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, he did that.
See, like, I always get those confused because I get them. I think I saw them around the same time. So Summer of Fear, I think, is where Linda Blair, like, rides a horse, and she's got a boyfriend, and this woman comes, and I think it's supposed to be her cousin, but she's a witch, I think, or she's possessed or something, and then she kind of takes over, you know, and gets the boyfriend to fall in love with her. She, like, gives Linda Blair, like, a sickness or whatever, and I don't know, I always thought that was a really, really cool movie. I don't get it. Nobody really talks about it. Vinegar Syndrome just kind of re-released it with a slip and stuff like that, but I like Summer of Fear, and I think that was a TV movie originally. Do you have a chance to check yours out yet, or
not yet? No, I was going to wait until the summer, but
good call.
Summer of Fear. You can't watch Summer of Fear in spring. Have you seen it, Uncle Bill?
I haven't seen it. No.
Okay.
If you could see all the shit I've got over here that I haven't watched, it's
Oh,
got
dude. I feel you right here. I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh my god, I get so much stuff I haven't watched yet.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to go over some of that at Hall of Mania, brother. We'll talk about that here in a little bit.
Hail to the king, baby.
This is a twofer right here, okay? These are not movies that I had any sort of nostalgia for. They were before my time. I don't know if Jamie actually checked these movies out on her daddy's lap as a 6-month-old back in the 70s. But there was some weird fascination in the 70s for these horror TV movies where these weird motherfuckers were living in walls.
I knew it. Yeah, I knew it was going to be it.
He's very bad.
So you've got, everyone talks about our good buddy Bad Ronald.
That's right.
I'm surprised that hasn't seen another edition, to be honest.
Right. Yeah. Dabney Coleman is in this too, by the way. I don't know if you.
What are you gonna show another one that's worth a ton of money?
Well, I mean, it may be. I'm not
I do
really
not
sure.
own this. I do not own it. It was one of my always wanted.
I have not seen this movie in a long time, but I do remember this being the better of the two, for sure. And that is Crawl Space.
Jesus Christ.
Yep.
That's
one of the most expensive DVDs. Like, I don't know of ever, but it was always
1972. 72.
Dude, there's so many movies named Crawl Space that I don't even know how you keep all that. There's at least 4 different movies that I've seen named Crawl Space.
Yeah, stay away from the Klaus Kinski.
Yeah,
Crawl Space.
I remember when I found the Klaus Kinski one, I was like, I finally got it. And then I brought it home and I'm like watching. I'm like, wait, this isn't the one. This isn't the one.
You look on eBay and it's like 10 cents or something. You know?
Yeah. I don't remember a fucking thing about that movie, by the way, but I know we watched it at some point.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's, some weirdo living in the... I mean, it's... Both of those movies are not exactly like gory horror films or anything. No. It's kind of like, there's this creepy fucker that's just hanging around the house, and he doesn't belong,
Well, Crawl Space was more like the guy lived there, and then they sold the house, and he stayed there. But Bad Ronald's almost like he gets put there because he kills like a little girl or something, right?
Because he's bad. He's Bad Ronald.
He was a bad Ronald.
Yeah.
His mother put him in there so he wouldn't get arrested.
And if I'm not mistaken, maybe somebody in the chat can clue us in. I think that there's more movies like this too. The hidden person films.
Yeah.
People Under the Stairs. Fool.
Yeah. What was the one came out? Was it The Boy? Is that the one that?
Oh yeah.
It came out more recently. That's kind of like that's the whole plot of the movie, really.
The Boy.
Bad Ronald, evidently, according to DMC 87, has a Blu-ray somehow.
Oh, maybe it was another Warner Blu-ray. They did a couple Blu-rays for a while, I think, like an HD transfer. It might have been on that.
Yeah. And Jamie said something about the Crawl Space. It was my mom that influenced my love for horror. Yeah, same, for sure. And she'd sing Crawl Space as well. Back in the day. When she was a toddler.
Crawl Space.
No, if she'd seen Crawl Space when it came out, that was 72, so maybe a rerun.
All right, you ready for one that I know? I know that me and Garrett both agree on this one. I already know. 1971 is when this came out, and it launched the career of probably the most famous film director of all time, I would say. Duel.
Oh, dude, I love Duel.
Duel?
Love Duel.
That was a TV movie, yeah.
Isn't that crazy to think about?
That is kind of odd.
And it was basically like his idea for Jaws. Is basically he was like, I love what I do with Duel. What if I just made this like a shark movie? So to me, Duel is always kind of like Jaws, but with a truck. And I absolutely love that movie as well. And I heard it's getting a 4K soon, which I hope because I love it.
I tell you the only thing about that movie that ever bothered me, as I watched it again here recently too, but I think that the pacing is great, the idea for the movie is great, the suspense, the whole thing is top notch. The only thing I wish that they wouldn't have done is there's a scene in it, and I don't know if you remember this scene or not, where he pulls off to get, like, he realizes that he's being chased or whatever, and he pulls off at a gas station, and I don't remember if he's trying to get help or he's doing something like that. And the guy pulls off, the truck pulls off too, and the guy gets out and he's like kicking the tires of the truck, like going all the way around it. Up to that point, and never again in that movie, before or after, do you see the guy associated with the truck. Had they not done that, like, you could have, like, supposed that maybe that was like supernatural or anything in the world like was going on with the truck. But there's only one scene where you see anybody, you never see the guy, but you see him kicking the tires of the truck. So I don't know. I just never.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. I remember that. I don't know if you ever saw him again. That wasn't when he went to like that coffee shop and like hung out forever because he saw the guy in there and he thought maybe he was in the coffee shop. I don't know if they ever showed him the driver again. I forget.
There was one scene where he like goes in and he's looking around.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out if the driver's in there, but you never figure out like if he's actually in there. You assume he is, but like
maybe it was something with like he was looking for certain boots or something. I forget.
That's what it was. I think. Yeah.
Thank you, old Curly Jaws.
It's because we mentioned Jaws. That's why he likes them.
That movie was it 71? Was that the year that it came out?
71, yeah.
Wow. So, yeah, definitely. I was thinking of this. John mentioned it too. It's kind of an inspiration for the Joyride movie.
Oh yeah, it basically is that movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Race with the Devil was another one that came out a few years after.
Love Race with the Devil.
Yeah, that's another one that nobody talks about. For some damn reason, Scream Factory or Shout Factory or whatever released just a throwaway double feature of that one. It's confusing. But, yeah, Duel's one that I need to rewatch. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I do remember liking it. Dennis Weaver, by God, the legend himself.
The man, the myth, and the legend of the Weave.
So who's next, boys? Are we still going through some movies?
Yeah, we can go through. So the next one is like an anthology movie.
Oh shit!
Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't even think of those.
Yeah.
Trilogy of Terror.
Oh,
I don't know if I could have one of those things.
Oh my God! You know who loves this? My son loves this.
Say.
He always says, "Is he smiling at me?" I'm like, "Yeah." He always say, "Like, I want to go down and see Zuni." So,
I just love the sound effects for that fucking doll in that movie too. It's like that palm in there I've got. It makes the same noise.
Yeah.
So what year was that? Late 70s? I can't.
Trilogy? I actually have the Blu-ray right here.
Karen Black was the big star, I guess, in that one.
75.
Okay. And then, like, she is in every story of it, right?
Yeah.
And that
That's the gimmick.
Been a while since I've seen that one too. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was a lot of anthologies before this one, but I think that was the one that kind of that creep show formula almost that they used later on. So,
yeah. So I love that one. I don't know much about part 2. I have it, but I don't really remember it as much as I do the first one. So that also has a Blu-ray.
It's not very good from what I've heard. It debuted on the USA Network after Raw one night.
Did it really?
I think it did, yeah. I mean, it was like 96, 97 when that one came out. And I remember them promoting it on Raw or like in the commercials and all that. So it was right around that time period.
That's so funny.
I mean, I don't know what you could say about that movie now other than like Karen Black is amazing in it. And that last shot of I think it's the last shot of the film, really, where she turns around and she's got the face and everything.
Yeah,
I can still see that clearly in my mind.
Dan Curtis, yeah, he was the one that did, and we'll be talking about him a little bit later too, for sure. And some of the real early stuff on TV when it comes to horror. Another one that I've got crazy nostalgia for, and go through it real quick because it's not the best movie, honestly, but I love it. I remember watching it when I think it was 1990 is when it came out, or 80, I think 89. And I just remember it being just the strangest damn movie, but it really kick-started a legendary franchise. It's still going today, Uncle Bill, Garrett.
What is it?
This is Amityville 4, baby. The Evil Escapes.
What the fuck?
It's the one with the evil lamp, right? That they get at a yard sale. It's a lamp that was in the Amityville house. So that's the evil escaped the Amityville house. All along, it was that fucking lamp, is what it was.
Now can you kind of clump all the rest in there as far as those other ones? Because they were all must have been TV movies, right?
Well, no, this was the only one that was a TV movie. The rest of them, I think, was
not like
Straight to-
Dollhouse.
Straight to video.
Oh, straight to
right?
video.
They were straight to video,
I
yeah.
got it. I got you. Yeah. My
this one, debuted on network television. It was like a Sunday night movie or ABC Wednesday night movie or something like that. Curly Jaws, he knows what's up. He says Amityville 4 is a fucking classic. It's better than the original.
What? Yeah.
Wait, which is the one that had that like really bad DVD cover? Was that one with like the family
Yes.
on it? Oh my god, I kept
Yeah,
that
I've-
DVD just because that cover was so brutal.
I still have the DVD somewhere,
That
but
is funny.
yeah, this is Vinegar Syndrome did a box set of this, and it was called, what did they call it?
The Curse Collection.
The Cursed Collection, yeah, because all of them were like items from the Amityville house. Like the one after that was just a fucking clock that was in
What
the
about
Amityville
It's
house.
About Time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so killer that they started using puns for the items and stuff. Yeah, It's About Time.
Yeah, the Amityville, like, we could easily, like, well, I'm not going to watch all these movies, but it would be fun
No, please don't.
to do a stream on just the history of these movies, because
do
the
that.
reason, fuckers like Cool Dude are making these Amityville movies now, right, is Amityville's a real town. You can't copyright a town, so if you wanted, and I think there is, we joked about this before, there's an Amityville sex toy movie that's out. I don't want to say what it is because that would be vulgar, and we've got women in here, and I don't want to do that. I'm trying to be good.
He doesn't want to be vulgar.
It's just sexual devices that were taken from the Amityville house.
It's crazy.
That's what we've come to.
Sexual devices. Oh, God.
So,
Okay.
Curly Jaws says he's going to make Amityville Curly Jaws movie.
He could. But even, there was one back in the day that was an unauthorized Amityville movie too. It's called the Amityville Curse. So they started that a long time ago. Our good friend Tim Gross is trying to go and review all of the movies. And I think there's something like 58 Amityville movies.
That is crazy.
Are
That
you
is
serious?
Yes.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
But getting back to Amityville 4, though, Patty Duke is in this motherfucker, and Elton John. Well, it's a little boy. It looks like Elton John.
I was going to say, he's not in this movie.
It's not really a little boy is the weird thing. I was like, because I remember as a kid, I was like, that boy's weird looking, right? So he's kind of a short man that plays a boy in it. So I always remember that too. Very weird. The Evil Escapes, Amityville 4.
What you got,
All
UB?
right. I could go so many different directions. Let's go with one that I know that CK and I have a really interesting relationship with, because we've met this guy probably, I don't even know how many times, and he is the most enthusiastic son of a bitch
I know who you're going to be talking about.
to ever write a film, and that is J.D. Feigelson, and it is Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, with my man, I break for Drake himself, Larry Drake. I really
That's
do
a
think,
shirt! That's a shirt!
Listen, I really do think that he's one of the most underrated kind of horror actors that never kind of got any acclaim. He was Dr. Giggles. He was in this one as the, how do you say that? How do we say this nowadays?
Special? I don't know.
An invalid?
Sure.
I think that's even worse than what I was fucking thinking. An invalid. Yeah.
Well, what would you diagnose him as 5 years ago, Uncle Bill? You just say that. You're just going back in time. It was
I think
okay.
5 years ago you would diagnose him as borderline intellectual functioning.
See, you know this.
And so now...
You know how I would diagnose him? You know that one scene in Silent Madness where you see the computer screen? No,
remember that thing? Remember that? That's so random. Oh my god.
But anyway, this was a great movie. It still holds up to this day because they didn't really rely on anything like, gore or anything like that. It's just a really good story. Agoraphobic. No. I don't know if I would call him agoraphobic or not.
I don't know. But yeah, JD, our good friend JD Fogelson, is actually finished with a sequel to this. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, you had told me that at some point.
Yeah, hopefully we can at least get like a screener link or something and check that out. I'm kind of interested in seeing. This movie was the early 80s, though, the original movie, like 80, 82, 83, something like that.
Yeah, I'm curious to see the new one. I didn't see a trailer or anything, but I saw the cover of the Blu-ray, and it looks just like the cover of this one.
The thing about that movie, too, is that it's really just a morality kind of play. I mean, it did a really good job of kind of highlighting that would be the way that when something like that happened, that would be the way that the town looked at that.
Somebody was asking about Crawlspace again. I had to show it. Yeah, we've talked about it.
We did, buddy.
I've got it.
But yeah, that was back in a time period that was different, where they actually made movies that had something to say and had some sort of long-lasting kind of morality to them. Unlike today, where you just get a bunch of either like Marvel movies or just forced woke nonsense shoved into a movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, back then it was a lot more enjoyable.
Do you remember that time I tried to get Larry Drake to do a promo for our show at that convention?
I do, yeah. He was like, "No, you bitch."
For one thing, he didn't live very much longer after that. I don't think, did he?
No. After we saw him, it was only maybe a year or two until he passed away.
So it took me forever for him to understand what in the fuck I wanted him to do. Right? I talked to him forever, and he couldn't get a grasp on it.
All he heard was, "Yeah, boys, holler and shit, go out and camp and get you a chicken." I'm sure that was like what was going through his head.
That fellow wants me to talk about whores.
That's right.
No, but and then once he figured out what I was trying to get him to do, he was like, "Oh no, I couldn't do that. That would be like an endorsement."
Yeah, dipshit, that's what we're trying to get. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh. And I was trying to get him, I was like, you could just be Dr. Giggles and say, you're listening to Dead Pit Radio.
Right.
And then do the giggle.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been amazing.
No.
All right. So back to me. Let's see what we got. Here's a pretty good one. It's got Kim Richards in it, and it's called Devil Dog. Do you remember that one?
Ooh, yeah.
I do remember that.
It was pretty good, I thought. I thought it was a pretty good movie.
That's a deep cut right there. I would not have thought about that.
The Hound from Hell.
Yes. I thought it was pretty good. I think I have a Blu-ray of that. I don't know who put it out, but Severin maybe? I don't know.
Was that in one of those packs at one time? One of those Shriek Show packs?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, I think. Yeah.
I had that. I still have that.
Pretty good one that not many people talk about at all. So I'll throw that one out there. I have a couple over here, too, that hopefully we get to. So you guys can go and see what you got on your list of cool TV horrors.
One that's had a remake, oddly enough. And it's like a very underground cult movie for kids that grew up around this time period. It's from 73 and stars Kim Darby, oddly enough, who would later go on to do Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, and look really afraid.
Oh my God.
She's fucking annoying in that movie, but
She is.
don't be afraid.
Afraid of the dark.
Of the dog. Because there's little
I like that
demons
one.
and shit. It's gonna come.
Speaking of shit being in your walls, being a common theme, that's another one that like wasn't a person per se, but it was these
The
little
creatures.
creatures. Yeah.
Yeah, it was these creatures in a locked room, and they did look very odd. I remember that, and I could see why kids at the time would. This was 1973, so this is probably some pretty creepy shit. Even before like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and stuff like that was out.
I mean,
Yeah.
one of the most effective parts about it were what the little creatures looked like, and
Yeah.
the fact that they didn't do that much. There was no real optical or like CGI kind of stuff back then. So, I mean, everything they did looked pretty good still this day.
That's another interesting one there too. Bradley Taylor. Yeah, Kim
That's
Darby
right.
is a very young girl. Was in True Grit with John Wayne, and worked with John Wayne. Some little creatures in Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, and Michael Myers. Bulls. I don't say too many people's done that before.
And she was in Teen Wolf too.
Teen Wolf Part
She
2.
was the mom.
Oh yeah.
Teen Wolf 2 is one of the shittiest fucking movies that's been ever made. Like,
How
I
dare
know.
you.
I'm telling you, that's blasphemy.
How dare
No,
you
I
talk
wa-
about Jason Bateman that way?
He was a boxer in that. Fuck you.
Yeah, this time we're going to have him. Yeah, he's not into basketball anymore. It's just all about boxing.
It was his cousin. That's why.
Yeah.
It was his cousin. I mean, it was funny because when you do watch it, though, you can tell the budget was like a lot lower, like in quality. Like even the wolf itself looked like a really bad version of like that Michael J. Fox wolf.
We should get do a commentary over that movie and get like a stopwatch and like only see how long the actual dialogue and everything is in the movie, because half of that movie is like a montage.
Yeah.
And it's only like what 70 some
Send me
minutes
an
long.
angel.
Yeah.
All right. That's in that too. Yeah.
I just
No,
remember
I always.
me and my buddies used to always just quote that one line and try to crack each other up, where it was like, "Give me a keg of beer."
Oh, that's the
Like,
that's the first
That's
one.
the
Yeah,
first one.
classic.
Yeah,
it's a
I don't
classic.
know. I don't know any lines from the second one. I don't think anybody else should either.
I know a line from the second one.
A 6-pack of Bartles and James.
No, one of the ones that he was a boxer, right? And there was some doofus that he was like fighting in his first match.
Dennis Weaver's missing tooth. He was supposed to start in Teen Wolf 3, Bulls.
And I remember he did he's fighting like some doofus guy for the first time, and the guy ripped this thing off, and he said, "Let's get this over with. I have a date in a half hour." That's the one line I remember.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, the big jock guy or whatever. It's like, yeah.
But you know what? There is. I'm trying to get my facts straight here. Maybe you guys in the chat know. There was supposed to be a Teen Wolf 3, but it was a girl, and it was somebody famous, like maybe Alyssa Milano or something, where they wanted her to be like his cousin or something, but they decided against it because when they tried to figure out how they were going to do all the hair and stuff, they're like, "Yeah, I don't know if people are going to want to see this." So they canceled it. But that was like a rumored. It was already like in the works or something. I just don't know who it was that was supposed to be the wolf. I think it was Alyssa Milano, I believe.
I would
That
pay
would've
good
been-
money to see that, just to see.
That would
if
have
they
been
pull
interesting, right?
Yeah, that'd have been like the end of the Howling, probably. She looked like fucking. She looked like Princess Puffins.
The Care Bear Wolf, yeah.
But yeah, I'm a huge Teen Wolf fan. I'm actually going to be doing a Teen Wolf show within the next couple weeks, probably 2 to 3 weeks.
I actually really love the original Teen Wolf, but
It
Who
was
does?
one of my
Yeah.
favorites growing up. Yeah.
It's like they combined the Wolfman with Hoosiers.
I think that was the first movie that I remember hearing. Wasn't Werewolves of London in that movie?
No, it was the big song from that was the one
Win
the
in the
Beach
end.
Boys song, wasn't it? Like when he's
Oh, yeah,
surfing
yeah.
on the
Yeah. When he
I
was on
thought
the,
they had like either it was Werewolves of London or it's something that sounded just like it. I can't remember.
Only thing I remember Werewolves of London being in was that one with Tom Cruise. What's that movie where he's playing pool and shit?
Oh yeah, Color Money.
Color Money, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Slash Vision said, yeah, it was Alyssa Milano. That was supposed to be Teen Wolf 3. It's funny.
Okay, so who's next, Bulls? Is it Uncle Bill?
It's Goldberg. Yeah. Hold on. Oh, well, yeah. How timely this next one is. And I just watched it right around the time of the pandemic, as a matter of fact, when all that nonsense started. And I'd really forgotten how well this movie plays, even if all that crap wasn't going on. The beginning 30 minutes of this movie are as good as anything that I've ever seen, in any other actual horror film. And that is actually Mick Garris's The Stand, the original, not that crappy shit that they put out here recently.
How many different versions of The Stand are there that's out though?
I think there's just 2 in there. I think
there's the original one that he's talking about, and then I think there's a remake or some new one, right?
Yeah.
They had a remake that, well, fuck, who knows?
But if you haven't seen that movie, it's hit and miss throughout most episodes. But the first 30 minutes to an hour of that movie, you've got to watch. You just watch that part of it. It's absolutely amazing what they did when it all the shit all breaks loose, and then they're playing Don't Fear the Reaper, and they're panning around the lab, and everyone's dead, and it shows all the doctors and all the lab workers and stuff, and they're all dead, and then he's driving off in the car to head towards this town. It's it's a great setup.
What was the deal around that same time period? What was that movie that come out that freaked everybody out too? It's Outbreak.
Outbreak was in the 90s, yeah, and then Contagion.
It's the same. Yeah, it's the same time frame, though, wasn't it? A couple years of each other, I think.
Yeah.
And I remember Outbreak, when I watched it, because when I was a kid, I didn't ever think about shit that's been going on for the past couple of years or whatever. But yeah, it fucking freaked me out. And I need to rewatch The Stand. I have it. It was one of those deals that they had, Walmart had it for crazy cheap not too long ago.
I just feel the biggest part of that, the biggest problem with that movie was the makeup effects. If they'd actually done some decent makeup effects, towards the end of the movie when they show the devil and all that, people would still be talking. But it just kind of falls apart.
Lucio Inferno's got something interesting on here. He says Uncle Bill can watch all these other crap movies, but he can't finish Dario Argento's late films, huh? Makes sense to me.
Jesus, this guy is fucking never gonna let me not in that series. It's over with. Rhonda Fulci, motherfucker. Catch up.
Yeah, he's fingering Fulci now, man.
Well,
you ready for it? Doing this with Fulci. Bleh.
Twist it.
Bop it. Garrett's nope.
Don't
it's
know.
I just had a dinner date. I ain't done none of this shit.
So,
I like Teen Wolf.
That's right.
Since we're on the Stephen King kick, I think the one that all three of us probably remember watching back when it came out was It. Stephen King's It, the miniseries from, I think, 1990. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I first saw it, it freaked me out probably more than any horror movie that I'd seen as a kid. The first half of that movie. I don't know what you guys think, because I didn't get scared of any sort of horror movies or scary movies or anything when I was a kid. That one definitely freaked me out.
I just think, to me, nowadays, it's bizarre because back then, it was like an event when something like this came on TV. I remember just everybody in the house getting super excited, and you watch each episode. Nobody watches TV like that now, to where it's it's you have to see it kind of thing. And I agree with you though. That first half of that movie, I was terrified of that movie when it came out. Would have been 10 when that movie came out. And it just all those scenes, which they involved kids our age and everything. It was just, it was one of the scariest things ever back then.
Isn't it amazing, Tim Curry, just all the different characters and stuff that he has had over the years. and just legendary characters, really.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know if there's too many actors that can say that.
No, I mean that's the big thing you can say about him is man, he has really so many great characters in his career. Like we even can go back into like The Worst Witch, right, and even look from that as well. But I mean, there's just so many. Like it's just crazy to think that he did so many roles. Like even like Legend, right? Like it's just he was just he had so much talent. He was so all over the place. It's just kind of sad to see, you know, how he is now. And he's had a great career, man. Like I even love Clue, love Clue.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
You know, and there's just so much he's done, and we're not even getting into like Rocky Horror and all that stuff. But man, he's just so versatile. That guy was. It was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, the main reason for that movie being great is his performance. There's not. I think Jonathan Brandis was great in it. Other than that, there's not a whole lot like you can point to like in terms of actors and you know anything that was memorable other than those two performances. But my God, dude, like I think his role in that blows away the new movies. I still think.
Oh
that,
yeah,
like by far.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think it's very different because the new movie was cool. It was, you know, he did a great job, I think, as Pennywise, but it was very supernatural. Where I think the one with Tim Curry, it just felt more like it's real, right? Like this dude really could take you, and it didn't feel like supernatural like it did in the new ones.
This guy's just fucking killing me with these posts.
What is it now? Which one?
Hold on. I can do these. Hold on. I just saw this. It's Alyssa Milano, star of
Dude,
Teen Wolf 3.
Yeah, what's with the damn Avatar, man? God, he's working quick.
Yeah, that dude is.
I don't know. He's fast. He's fast.
Who the fuck is Planet CHH? What in the hell's that?
What's up, dude?
Is that like Planet Hollywood or the DEADPIT universe or what?
Planet Stasiak's what I'm thinking.
Stasiak, craziac.
Yak.
The for anybody out there though, it's a fan of Legend. That Arrow Blu-ray that they came out with a few months ago, that's a must buy. Like I don't know if they'll ever do a 4K of that, but that was one of the best looking Blu-rays that I'd seen in quite a while. It looks great.
So what else we got? There's got to be more shit to run through.
I have this on here, but I could be wrong. I can throw this out really quick because I think everything that I have, you guys have talked about. Was Body Bags with Carpenter a TV movie?
Yes.
It was Showtime, I think.
Yep.
Okay, so I had that on my list too as another one.
I counted it. Yeah.
Now, my killer podcast is agreeing with me. It was a banger, boss.
You know, I don't have it. I have the Blu-ray that came out before that one, but it wasn't from Arrow. It was from it was like just a studio company or whatever. So I never got the Arrow one. So I should probably, if it comes out in 4K, I'll be sure to grab it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they'll do a 4K of it anytime soon. They probably will, knowing Arrow, but yeah, that Blu-ray looked insane. Insane, the membrane.
But yeah, Body Bags, awesome. Great anthology movie. Some cool stuff in there. I think we've kind of talked about it a little bit before, but always a big fan of that one. And
yeah, the Stacy Keach one is my favorite. And
I know. That's exactly what I think of when I think about it.
Yeah.
Those little alien hairs. You know what, though? In reality, the Mark Hamill one was actually really good. Like, I mean, he does a pretty amazing job. And Mark Hamill was a really good actor. He just got typecast and couldn't get out of it. But that episode was awesome, too.
You know what's so weird about that, too, is John Carpenter as the host of it. Mm-hmm. Like, had he ever done anything like that before? Like, that's just so out of left field that he was kind of like the crypt keeper almost of that whole
And he did a really good job, too, was the weird thing about it. Like, I mean, that whole host thing that he was doing was actually really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job with it.
So is there any other movies we want to go through? Because we're going to go in chapters, and this is just the first chapter, boys.
Chapter 1. I mean, it can get a little bit of
I
like
went
Hitcher. like Hitcher was at a made for TV movie because I never had HBO. I know that it was there, but
Hitcher, I'm not sure. I know it was an HBO movie, but HBO had HBO Pictures too that showed stuff in theaters. So maybe somebody
that was
can Google it and let us know.
I mean, you know, there's going to be a million more, but those are the ones that I mentioned,
Yeah.
the ones that I really, really like had an impact on me. Or I really, really liked, and I feel like, you know, the ones that you guys mentioned too were ones that were on my list. I think I've gone through everything one way or another.
Stone Gassman is in the house. What's going on, man?
what's up, brother? Yeah, everything that we've talked about was on my list too. So I think we pretty much ended just the big ones. I know there was like some smaller movies, but you know, we just kind of threw out there some of the big name ones that we remember.
Facebook user says Hitcher was at the theater.
I mean, there are some that are severely underrated, but I wouldn't necessarily call them great. Like the Night Flyer gets mentioned a lot.
I like the Night Flyer. I think that needs an upgrade for sure. It's in a stupid snapper case.
Yeah,
I need to get rid of it. But yeah, I love that one. But if you want, we can take a second and move on if you guys are good with that.
Sure. I would play a commercial, but I just realized that it didn't upload.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I'm a piece of shit.
You suck.
I was just looking at it. I was like, it was one of those days, folks. The first of the month in the South sucks. That's all I'm going to say that again.
We did we did cover Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, Planet Stasiak.
Planet Stasiak. That was a hell of a gimmick.
I actually thought that was a gimmick that was going to work, to be honest with you, and it was.
No, you fucking didn't, Gary.
I swear to God, I did. I thought he looked cool with the spiky bleached hair. I thought it looked all right.
He looked like Berlin. God,
Berlin.
you remember that shit?
Oh hell. So, what about shows? You want to go into TV shows, horror shows, and we could even include horror hosts in this, right? Which is weird because I was looking this up and I kind of knew that Vampiro was the first horror host. I didn't realize it was all the way back in 1954.
Yep.
And don't say you watched it live, Jamie. Just don't.
Jamie's
She's
there.
like, yeah, I was 5 years old. And that's why she's trying to sue Elvira, or was trying to sue Elvira, because shit, that show came along probably, 30 years before Elvira even thought about doing anything?
Probably. Close to it. And then the almost immortal Zachary just started like 3 years after that, and that dude lived up until 4 or 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. He was almost 100 years old. So for me, though, horror host thing, I didn't grow up with horror hosts. Me and Uncle Bill had Mr. Cartoon. He played cartoons on Saturday morning. That was probably the closest thing to any sort of host that we had as kids. But we didn't have a horror host here in Appalachia.
No, that's true.
I know that there was some here, but I never watched them. So my uncle talks about it all the time. I forget the guy he brings up, but he brings out some people that were horror hosts, and it was just either they were before my time or I just was never allowed to watch it. I don't know, but I knew Elvira, and that's about it. Like I didn't even really know Joe Bob Briggs that much growing up at all either.
Well, if you have My TV or My Network TV or whatever the hell the channel is where you're at, Sven Gooley is on there. So he's on there every Saturday around, 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, something like that.
Yeah.
So I set those to record and kind of check them out when I'm getting ready for bed or whatever. Which the horror host thing is not really, I mean, it's cool. I'm not saying I don't like it. But, I mean, I just never, that's something that I never grew up with. So I don't really have any sort of special bond to that. I remember when we were at Horror Hound in 2007, 2008, Sammy Terry, the original one, was there. Like one of the original horror hosts. He was still alive at the time. And that dude, do you remember him, Uncle Bill? He was like probably 85, 86 years old. And would only sign for like 30 minutes at a time. And people were going nuts for him because I guess in that Indianapolis area, he was like a big celebrity then. And the dude still had the makeup on and everything. I was like, damn.
It's kind of like wrestling territories or something, like back in the day. Like every territory had its own Horror host. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny.
So I like the horror host thing, though. I mean, it kind of leads up. Somebody mentioned Rhonda Shear.
Yeah.
Up all night,
yeah, she's kind of the same thing, but just not as gimmicked as like dressing up like she's a damn mummy or something, like some of these people did. And then Joe Bob Briggs is probably the most famous modern one who's still going strong on Shudder. Mm-hmm. And I do recall the TNT Monster Vision back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was probably the first thing that I can remember watching that had anything to do with that would be Monster Vision.
Same.
Yeah, so he's still going strong on Shudder. Elvira in the early 80s, I do kind of remember that as well.
Yeah.
That's something I wanted to mention real quick, too. I don't know, Garrett, if you recall it, but back in the late 80s, early 90s, if it was Friday the 13th, there would be a marathon on somewhere. It'd be on USA Network. It would be on CBS or ABC or something like that late at night. And they don't do that anymore. I don't know what the deal is.
There was even some that were on like the weekend. Maybe it was, I don't know, unless Friday the 13th came through in the summer. I just remember that there was one that they were doing a marathon, and it must have started like at like 11 a.m. and went all the way through, because I can remember like watching it and then going outside, and then we were like playing around in the neighborhood, and then we randomly went to this other kid's house to eat lunch, and he put it on at his house. So, and it was the middle of the day. So I don't know if it just took place in the summer, if it was on a Saturday and not a Friday. I don't remember, but I can just remember us jumping from house to house throughout the day and like just catching bits and pieces of different Friday the 13th. Like I still remember that vividly. So yeah, if they did the marathons, it started early enough to be like lunchtime for sure.
The last time I can recall I think it was back when the movie channel was still on, or I think it was the movie channel. And that was like pay cable. And if it was Friday the 13th, they had all of them on. And I remember recording, trying to fit as many of them on a 6-hour VHS tape as possible. And they would even have little skits in between the movies where they would make like some sort of goofy joke and have somebody dressed as Jason. I would love to find that shit now, because that was probably late 90s, early 2000s. And that's the last time I can recall anybody doing that.
Yeah, I wonder if I think I still have some of my Elm Streets taped off TV. But you know what was funny, and I was like recent when I realized this. When I was a kid, I didn't realize that, if you did super long play that you were getting worse quality. I always remember saying, who the hell would ever know? I was like, because I used to always do it on all my tapes and like wrestling and stuff, and I was like, what idiot would not do this? Like I was like, it didn't make sense to me.
Every tape that I had, had like 3 or 4 movies on it. It's like it was just like right them on the spine and all the way down.
And I didn't realize that you lost quality. You know what I mean? Like I just thought it was just
nobody had any idea.
It didn't matter back then though either. Nobody cared. Like that was the thing. It was about the actual content itself, not oh, look how pristine this looks. Because I mean the first generation tape really didn't look that great either. I mean, evidently so. But yeah, I'd always put like 3 movies. I'd record wrestling too. I had like 6 weeks worth of Monday Night Raw on one tape.
Yeah, it was. We had like I can still remember this. We taped like Simpsons and all this other stuff on a tape, and my mom got pissed because we taped over like it said my brother's preschool graduation on it, and we crossed it off and wrote like Simpsons and like wrestling and stuff. And I remember she was so pissed.
I cannot remember how many like fights, screaming fights I got with my dad, because I would have like my wrestling tape in, and he would have some sort of like, I don't know, Christian ministry shit set to record like on a timer, and it would tape over my wrestling. There was one time it was a Coliseum videotape, right? And this was before they had it fixed where you couldn't tape over them or whatever, and it taped over the whole. Yeah, I was so pissed.
Oh my God, I would have been too.
I tell you one thing that was cool about that time period too was like all of the VHS tapes that I had, they were all themed. So like there would be action ones, there would be comedy ones. You'd have like 3 or 4 action movies, 3 or 4 comedies, and like this would all be stuff like my parents would record off whatever you know. And somewhere or another, you could do that when you put like a piece of tape or something on the VHS tape. Do you remember that? Like you could, some hack or something that you did that allowed you to do all that. But yeah, like you had like on one of them it'd be like Trading Places, 48 Hours, like comedies, things like that. Then on another one you would have like Missing in Action, Rambo, shit like that. Like everything had a theme.
You know what I did back in the day? Uncle Bill might remember this. I got free tapes this way, right? So you could request, I think it was Hair Club for Men or something like that. Which,
what?
Who would have thought? I probably could have used that shit back in the day. But I would take a Scotch tape and put it over the Hair Club for Men tapes, and I had like 10, 15 of them. And that would be a free tape for me to record.
I didn't even think about that. What a great idea.
On, yeah.
That is funny. Hey, can I jump on this question from Hangman really quick?
Yeah, let me find it on here.
Actually, dude, you spelt it right, exactly right. So yeah, it's interesting because what's weird is did he do Monster Vision? Because I remember Monster Vision, but I don't remember him. And I'm from the Northeast as well, so the fact that you said you don't remember, and you're like my age as well, so it's just very interesting that you grew up in Brooklyn and don't remember him being advertised either. And I don't, but I do remember Monster Vision. Was that his show?
I think they replaced him kind of early on, right? Wasn't he the original host for Monster Vision, and then they just got some sort of like it was a couple, right? A woman and a man. That
I don't remember who the host was, but I can just remember like the commercials for Monster Vision and the logo, and I can remember tuning into it.
He definitely had a show on TNT, right?
Yeah, I don't remember. Like I remember him, but I don't. It's strange, and maybe it just wasn't something that was advertised regularly in the Northeast at all. But I used to watch a lot of horror, but it was mostly I remember being like Saturday after wrestling around like 1 o'clock or noon or something like that. A lot. I remember watching a lot of horror. But I don't know what it was.
He said that it started without him, but he joined some point in the 90s.
Okay. Interesting. But yeah, I just thought it was a good question because he's from the Northeast as well, so maybe there was something where he wasn't as big of a thing there.
Who knows? But yeah, the horror host thing is still kind of going strong. As far as the actual the shows, I mean, you can go back all the way to like I guess Twilight Zone was the first big one back in the late 50s, early 60s. And then, like, after that, man, it kind of exploded. There was tons of them.
Yeah. I mean, I can start just so I can actually plug something that I'm doing tomorrow. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Are You Afraid of the Dark? That was the big one for me that really was a gateway into more horror stuff. I know we're going to talk about a big one later, but I didn't have HBO, so I didn't see this until it got to Fox, which was like, I think, reruns or later seasons or something. But so Are You Afraid of the Dark and things like X-Files were the two shows that really got me into more of like the horror aspect of movies. And so if you guys want, tomorrow night at 9:30 p.m., I'm going to be doing my first episode for a new series called Are You Afraid of the Dark Revisited? So I'm going to do it with my brother and his wife, where we're going to go through just different episodes. So we have the first episode airing tomorrow, where we do like kind of a watch along and talk about it and review it. So head over to my channel and set a reminder for that. It's going to be scheduled for tomorrow night.
Sweet.
Same snick time as it was back in the day. But yeah, that was the first one I want to talk about is Are You Afraid of the Dark? Did you guys watch that at all or no?
Somehow or another, like I missed that one. And I don't know, did that come out in the 90s?
I think it debuted in like 90. I think it was 90 was like the pilot, and I think 91 into 92 was season 1.
I don't know what the hell I was doing, but no, I'd never watched that one back then. That's like...
I never watched it either, oddly enough. Like, it always sounded like something that I would like, but for some reason, that was one that I never did get into. So, this would be all you, Garrett.
Yeah, it was just
tune into the video tomorrow night.
We talk a little bit about our memories on it tomorrow. You'll see that and hear that. But yeah, it was like a ritual for me with my dad and my brother. We'd all watch X-Files on Friday night, and then we'd all watch Ren and Stimpy and Are You Afraid of the Dark every Saturday night. That was kind of like our ritual because my mom used to work Friday and Saturday nights. So that was kind of our thing for it felt like years. It might have only been a couple of years, but yeah, so I'll bring up Are You Afraid of the Dark? And I guess I touched on X-Files a little bit. So I know Uncle Bill's a big fan of X-Files. And I know we're going to try to get a watch along with Wes to see it because he's never seen it.
Listen,
I've seen the movies.
I still think it's my favorite show. My favorite
show's
TV.
better than the movies. Do you agree?
Me?
Do you agree that the show blows the movies out of the water?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like the first movie especially, but the show is like... I mean, I could talk about X-Files for a whole, 2 or 3 hour show. But needless to say, it's my favorite TV show of all time. It's definitely my favorite, horror sci-fi TV show for all time. I was looking back in preparation for this, and they have, 10 episodes that I could go back and watch all 10 right now. They're classics. They're not just good episodes. They're, what I consider to be classics. Bangers, if you will. Yeah, I've made a list of a couple of them. Home, Tombs, Dwayne Barry, Pusher, Postmodern Prometheus, Bad Blood, Clyde Bruckman's Final Repose. All those.
That's my favorite WWE pay-per-views of all time.
Bad Blood. Yeah.
Well, you know what's funny is I don't remember, besides Home, which I love, I don't know any of those by episode name. But the couple that I do remember, and you would probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Remember the one where I can just remember the dude being up on the top of the building and Hey Man, Nice Shot from Filter was playing and he had electricity and stuff.
Yeah,
that
was the one where the kid was he was charged with electricity and he would go around whenever he got mad and shit. Oh,
and,
God.
Then there was another one where I remember at the beginning, I don't know if they were at a carnival or something, but it was I think a girl, someone got kidnapped. There was a red balloon. I don't remember if you remember that one.
I don't remember that one, but I should.
It's another show that I just loved growing up, and I have all the seasons on DVD, and I need to really dive back into those, and that's why I think it would be cool to do some watch-alongs with you guys, because it'll just be another way to see these again for the first time, second time.
And the thing about the X-Files was basically a combination of The Night Stalker and Twin Peaks. I mean, it was a combination of those two shows. But there was just something about it. I think it was the subject matter and the way that they handled a lot of those conspiracy theories that nobody ever really did a show like that up to that point.
On a lot of people's lists online for horror TV shows, Twin Peaks was real high up there on a lot of them. I never got into Twin Peaks either. What about you guys?
I got into Twin Peaks not when it aired. I can remember it being I can remember the commercials and I definitely remember the opening song in the opening thing, but as a kid I just thought it was some kind of weird I didn't know what it was. I thought it was kind of like Seventh Heaven or something. I had no idea that this was a wacky I swear to God, I never knew what this was, so I never to me I was oh, what is this? It's got a mill and all that. I don't want to watch this, the logs and stuff at the beginning. But then when I kind of heard it was a little bit wacky, I remember buying the gold set, the box set, the DVD set. And that's the one I still have. And I remember binging it when I got it years and years ago and absolutely just loving the show. But again, it's one of those things where I remember bits and pieces of it, but I've only seen it once. And it would definitely be something I would love to go back and watch again. And I know Jamie's in here and absolutely is a big fan of that. So, it's something I really want to go back and watch again all the way through, because I did love it when I watched it for the first time. But it was only probably, 15 years ago is when I first saw it.
It was one. I only got into it within the last 3 or 4 years, just because David Lynch, and I started to get into more David Lynch's movies and things like that. But it's probably the most unique TV series that ever was aired, just because they gave him complete creative control, and he's insane anyway. And the shit that he put on the screen, you would never get anybody to do now. They just wouldn't let people do anything like that now. It was so absurd and bizarre.
Mm-hmm. One that I wanted to mention on here, though, I've never really tried to watch Twin Peaks, so there's nothing I can add to it. But one that I've watched numerous times, and definitely I wouldn't call it horror, but there's the ghost stories and stuff like that. And it was one of those shows that freaked me out. Certain segments of it would be unsolved mysteries from back in the day. Yeah. A lot of a lot of the UFO stuff and the Queen Mary episode in particular, I remember as a kid, that was one of the freakiest things that I'd ever seen when I first saw it. Like some of the techniques that they used and some of the audio that they played from, supposedly real ghosts on the ship, right? So Unsolved Mysteries, would definitely be one of my favorites.
Probably had the best opening theme of any show ever. Like, that fit that with the subject matter perfectly.
Yeah.
That was a show that scared the hell out of me as a kid. It really did, and it was like one of those ones that I just felt uncomfortable watching, because it was Unsolved Mysteries. So at the end, it was always like, if you see this person, then I'm always looking out my window, like, are they outside? Like, because they weren't caught or whatever.
Okay, can you guys remember the phone number?
Oh, I don't.
877-95353 or something like that.
1-800-876-5353.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But yeah, there was some good episodes that I can remember, like, that was just out there. Like, I remember there was this one where something flew over this town and it was like all this slime and shit that went everywhere. Do you remember that? And the guy kept saying in the thing, and there was a white goo. And he saw the white goo on his car, and on his picnic table there was this white goo. But yeah, I love that show now, watching it again.
Yeah, white goo. Yes.
The white goo.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, you could go on about these TV shows all night too. I mean, that's what I was saying earlier. You could make like separate shows for each of these, and they could easily fill an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yep.
I have so many TV shows, Jesus. But I mean, I don't even know how far back you want to go with this, but this shit goes into like, the Addams Family and the Munsters and stuff like that. I mean, it.
Well, which one did you prefer back in the day? You never liked both equally.
No, you had to like one or the other. Like It's like the Beatles and Elvis. Like you chose a side at some point. I like the Addams Family better. That was my.
I did too.
I was a Munsters fan, right? I was like Rob Zombie, yeah!
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely loved those as well. But again, I caught all that late. It was already, I think, probably on reruns and stuff like that by the time I was really catching them. But another one that I never seen, but I texted my uncle today and I said, hey, we're doing a TV show thing on TV horror movies and shows. Text me something you want me to bring up. He loves all that TV movies, and I don't know if this was a movie or a show, and you guys probably know it, but he says one of his favorites is Kolchak the Night Stalker. I don't know if I have like that MGM double pack DVD with Night Stalker and stuff. Is that the same thing or is that different?
It was one season, right? It was a show, but it lasted 1 year.
Yeah.
But was it a movie too or no?
Yeah, there was like 2 movies, I think.
Okay, so I think I have that DVD. It was an MGM. It's a Night Stalker and then Night Strangler or something. If that's what he's talking about, but he just told me Kolchak the Night Stalker was one of his favorites. So.
Well, that was one that you'd said it inspired X-Files too. Didn't Uncle Bill say that earlier?
Yeah, it's one of the main things that inspired it, actually. Like that, like I said, Twin Peaks were the 2 main inspirations for that show. I think Chris Carter has said that a couple different times. But
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, that's another great series, even though it was really short.
Yeah, Jamie's in here, and I have a question really quick, and it's kind of on the topic of Twin Peaks. There was a real cool video game that came out a couple of years ago called Thimbleweed Park, and it was basically like Maniac Mansion, which was a real cool game for Nintendo that I was obsessed with. It was kind of a horror game. And this was that mixed with a lot of Twin Peaks stuff. I'm just curious if she had ever played it or knew anything about it. But if not, check it out. Find the trailer for it. It's pretty cool.
How the fuck do people talk about New Jack versus Mass Transit? Like, where in the hell that even...
Yeah, that was never on TV, ever.
Like, I just can't even figure out any line of logic that would lead you to whatever we're talking about to New Jack Mass Transit.
That's so
We were talking about Dan Curtis earlier, though. He kind of got his start with this little TV show called Dark Shadows, Uncle Bill.
Oh, my
We've talked
God.
about
Yeah, that was on my list, too, for sure.
It's a soap opera for sure, very, 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 very low budget soap opera from the 60s that I think it was like a fledgling show. And then they come up with this character, Barnabas Collins, a 400-year-old vampire or whatever the hell it was. And it just like exploded. That show was insanely popular. Yeah. I remember my mom telling me that she watched that show religiously when, growing up and everything. And, the first, I don't know, it was only the seasons were only, it's like 4 or 5 seasons. But there's like 900 shows. What is it?
How? No, Barnabas Collins just showed up in the chat.
I love Dark Shadow.
That guy. Yeah.
But Dark Shadows. I don't know if you guys have checked the show out. I mean, you've got to really dedicate plenty of time to it. But like I would say the first DVD collection that MPI came out with, and they started with when the Barnabas show starts. So that's killer. The only bad thing is after that season, like the show moves at a snail's pace because it's a daily soap opera.
Right.
So the stories are just so drawn out and slow and everything. But
I just think that was like goth erotica before anybody knew what goth erotica was. They were just intrigued by because it's basically just him seducing all these other women. That was the whole plot of the show for years.
Well, Jamie's saying that her mom loved Dark Shadows. She didn't watch it when it first came out. Was that the?
No. But it's funny that you guys say that because that's my experience with it too. When my mom's a huge soap opera fan. She's been taping General Hospital on TV since I was born. And I can remember when I was in middle school and my mom was working and it was finally those times where we could stay home alone. I think her big thing was, you better record General Hospital. That was my job every single day when I got home for years. So a lot of times I ended up watching the thing because I had nothing else to do. And but I can remember when I first really got into horror, she was like, oh, you would love Dark Shadows. It was something I used to watch. And like you said, your mom kind of told you about it as well. And I remember I was trying to find the DVD and that set had come out and it was so expensive that I ended up never getting it. But I did grab a couple of those DVDs where they have maybe 10 episodes a piece and they follow different storylines or whatever. And then there was those 2 movies on Blu-ray that I grabbed that I don't know if they were TV movies, but it was about that show, I guess. I forget.
Yeah, one of them's really good and the other one's not very good.
I think that House of Dark Shadows is probably one of the best standalone films based around a series. You can just watch that movie without even knowing anything about the show and it's still enjoyable. It's just a really well made movie.
To give you an idea though, I mean the show, like I said, it was 4 years. It lasted 4 or 5 years, not any longer than that. But there were hundreds and hundreds of episodes.
Yeah.
And then Dark Shadows is one of the only soap operas that I've ever known that has been released on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever it's on. But like something like General Hospital or Santa Barbara or whatever, some of those shows that were decades long, what's the odds on those ever? I mean, they'll probably never come out. Yeah, just the vast amount of them.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how it could ever come out. They would have to have just a streaming service where you could see everything. That's the only way I think they could make it work.
Yeah, maybe they could do that. Yeah.
I'm looking on here though at some of these other shows. I mean, I don't know how many of these you want to get into, man. There's I've literally got 30 of them on here.
Let's do these back to back. How about Friday the 13th, the series, and Freddy's Nightmares?
Mm-hmm.
Since those are both based on
I
movies.
prefer Friday the 13th, the series. If we're going by what do you like, because Freddy's Nightmares was kind of shitty. Let's be honest.
I was really excited for Friday the 13th when I was a kid, and when I watched it, I was so thrown back. I stopped watching it. So I have a better appreciation for it now. When it came back out on DVD, I watched it again. But as a kid, I remember being this is garbage. What is this? There's no Jason, and being really bummed out. Freddy's Nightmares, I don't remember a lot as a kid. I bought the a little bootleg DVD set years ago, And that's kind of where I watched it for the first time. But I don't remember it much besides just glimpses here and there of the show. And I remember commercials and stuff for it as a kid, but I didn't catch it until probably like 15 years ago or so.
I actually liked that show as a kid, even though I knew there was something wrong. Like I knew that Jason was supposed to be in it, and I think I maybe watched it more so thinking that he would show up at some point and was confused about why he didn't. But, you know, in hindsight, looking back on it, that plot device of like, you know, everything in there is cursed and each episode is like, you know, they take another cursed item and kind of like show you, you know, how it came to be and all that. That's a pretty freaking amazing idea, really.
Well, I always hear people, though, when it comes to Freddy's Nightmares, the first episode, which was like almost like a little mini movie, wasn't it a little bit longer than the other episodes? Tobe Hooper directed that, and it kind of tells the story of, you know, the kind of the prequel to the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie, which is interesting. But other than that episode, I think it's hosted by Freddy, right? Wasn't that the deal? Like Freddy kind of hosts each episode. Yep. I mean, you don't hear too many people talk about classic episodes of Freddy's Nightmares. Really.
No, there's not like a, you know, top 10 list of Freddy Nightmare episode.
No, I mean, but I would love it to come out in a better quality, because even like the DVD I have is really bad, and I guess the transfers on the stream that's out now is not that great either, I'm hearing. So I would love to get a nice edition of that, and just to kind of give it more life again. But I think what really threw off the Friday the 13th was the fact that the logo was the same. Like, even if they would have made it called Friday the 13th and like changed the logo, it would have been like kind of passable. But the fact that it was the exact same logo, it was really like a buzzkill.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, the story is it was originally called something else, and Paramount was producing it, and they had the rights to call it Friday the 13th, and they just thought, well, people will fucking watch it if it's Friday the 13th. Mm-hmm. Like, I think it was something like the 13th floor or something. It still had 13 in it, but it wasn't Friday the 13th. Don't you guys remember hearing that?
Yeah, I think it was like 13 of maybe those little artifacts or something, maybe. I don't remember, but
13 Ghosts with Matthew Lillard.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't that.
And what about, nobody talks about this one either, because, and this would be a very interesting one to come out because Wes Craven had such a big part in it, and that was the Nightmare Cafe show.
I knew you were going to say that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was only on for like, was it even a season, or was it 3 or 4 episodes or something?
I don't think the whole season even played on TV. Now, if I'm not mistaken, they filmed the whole season, but there are episodes that did not air on TV.
Yeah, I don't even think that may be available on something, but that wasn't even a full season.
No, it's never come out on anything. I think there may be some episodes on YouTube or something like that, but yeah, nobody ever talks about that one. I mean, it wasn't a very big hit, evidently.
Now, did you guys see? Did you guys watch The Hitchhiker? The one thing I can remember about that show was I felt like it had a real cool opening, like music.
The music's
and stuff.
awesome, yeah.
But I don't recall seeing the show. And was it an HBO show? Is that maybe why I didn't see it?
Yeah, it was all HBO.
Because I didn't have HBO growing up at all, so a lot of those things really just kind of passed me by.
I don't remember there being
or something.
I don't remember there being that many like really good episodes of that show. And the only thing I remember about that show was the intro. I mean, it was badass and brutal, but you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think the first season was HBO, and then they canceled it. HBO canceled it, and didn't USA Network or something bring it back? And there was
that's where I saw
there was a different hitchhiker. There were 2 different hitchhikers.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I got the DVD sets. I've got them over there somewhere. Like they made 3 or 4 of them. And yeah, the episodes, I mean, the best thing about that show was the theme song. The episodes themselves were, I mean, there were a couple that were okay, but there were, really nothing to write home about at all. Real quick here, Clifton, $5.99 super chat, wanted to give a shout out to Night Gallery. Pretty good, I think. It's not as good as Twilight Zone. Now, I don't know if I've ever seen Night Gallery. I remember hearing people talk about it. It's the follow-up from Twilight Zone. Rod Serling.
Yeah, I've never really gotten into it either. I remember like the watched a couple episodes of it, and I think that the main plot or whatever was, there was a painting associated with each episode, and Rod Serling would like go through and explain, kind of the same way he did with Twilight Zone. But there's always be some sort of painting in the background.
Now, Twilight Zone episodes. Now that's another show that I didn't grow up with, but there for a little while, I think it was on Sci-Fi Channel. I mean, it's still on Sci-Fi Channel probably every once in a while, and I would randomly
Every New Year it is.
Randomly watch episodes, and I would watch them before bed and check them out. And honestly, I liked almost every episode that I ever watched. I mean, there were some that were better than others, for sure. There's ones that people always talk about. The one with Burgess Meredith, where he's wanting to have enough time to read all his books and shit. One that I always liked when I was a kid was, I think it was like Grandma's House, or maybe it was called The Swimming Pool or something. I don't know. It's hard to really remember the names of all those shows is my problem with those ones.
Yeah, there's only a couple I can actually remember episodes from. Nightmare at 20,000 Feet with Shatner's one of them. To Serve Man is one of them. I mean, just because those are kind of classic. Eye of the Beholder. A couple ones like that.
Yeah, you are right though. There was a lot that they were just really good. Like I don't remember the name of it, but there was one with like a toy that would like. You remember those like these toys that would like kill people? Would like try to kill everybody. I don't remember what that was called though.
Was Eye of the Beholder the one where it was like a beautiful woman that was getting, like she was the deformed one, right? And everybody else was okay. Yeah, see, I can't remember the fucking names of those episodes. That's my problem. Like I remember seeing a lot of them. Well, I'm sure there's plenty that I've missed, but
yeah, like once you kind of see the episode names, you kind of remember what they are. Like I think Burgess Meredith one's like Time Enough or something like that, and there's another one too where Robert Redford is like plays Death, and I can't think of what that one's name is, but it was a good one too. I mean, there's a lot of classic ones. I didn't get into the Twilight Zone as much as a lot of people, like Sean Clark and people like that. But I mean, I had the VHS sets when I was a kid. They had 2 episodes each on them. I don't know if you remember those, but like they came in. I think there was 3 in a little like box set, and they had 2 episodes each. So I watched the hell out of some of them.
I just find old stuff like that, like episodes of shows from the late 50s, early 60s, like, and I know people are probably going to laugh at this shit, but like the Andy Griffith Show and Leave It to Beaver and stuff like that. This was kind of the horror sci-fi version of that. And I always love watching stuff from that era. And honestly, like, the one thing I can say about the Twilight Zone is pretty much every episode was at least good. Like, I don't remember any one of them being, oh, that's just stupid. Let's turn this off. I think they made films and TV shows a little bit different back then. They took a more serious approach to all this stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, did you guys, and maybe I'm talking about this one, but I also have the set, I think, for the Twilight Zone, but like the 80s one. The one from like, didn't they re-bring it back in the 80s or something like that?
I think so.
Maybe the one I'm thinking of is from that, because I do remember like the old ones, but then I do have the 80s box set. So I might be thinking of episodes from that, but that was another one that, again, I think they did a pretty good job with it. And another one that I think was a gateway for me, and I know we had talked about this one earlier today before we went on the show, was Erie, Indiana, was a big one for me as a kid. I don't know if I think it might have came on like a Sunday night or something. And that's one of those ones where there's not much. I have the box set on DVD, and there's not much I remember about it except for the first episode I ever saw, and I'm sure it's the one that you guys remember the most. It was that damn Tupperware one. Where they put those 2 kids in the Tupperware to like preserve them to stay young or whatever. Yeah. That freaked me the hell out as a kid. And for whatever reason, I can still remember like sitting in my living room on like a Sunday night or something, watching that for the first time. Like, and it just feels like it was like a couple of years ago. Like it's so vivid in my head. But I can remember like, and then the theme song at the beginning and everything. And I was hooked on that show, but for some reason, that's the only one that really sticks in my mind.
Wasn't there a episode of Erie, Indiana that had the Horace from the Monster Squad in it back in the day? Like I'm thinking, like he was a like a human bat or something like that, or maybe I'm just
A human bat. I hope God that exists.
like he was half human, half bat. He was a bat boy, maybe, or something. I don't know.
Bat boy.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I could check. But yeah, it was a pretty cool show, and I don't think it lasted too long. It doesn't feel like
It was like one season, maybe 2 seasons. Mm. Yeah, because that was a network show. That was on like NBC or something, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do remember that episode you're talking about. That might be the only episode I actually remember fully.
Well, the boys from Hocus Pocus, right? It's the same actor. What was his name?
It was, wasn't it? Yeah. I didn't even realize that. I was today years old.
Yeah.
It was a good idea for a show, too, you know. The idea that he moves to this town and, like, the town's got all these secrets and everything. He's just finding out about it.
Is there a town in Indiana called Erie? That would be really cool. Let's go visit it.
Now, we can talk about... You guys can throw out the big bangers, the 2 tales.
That's what I was getting ready to do. So, for Tales from the Dark Side, I want to know if y'all remember some of these, all right? Tales from the Dark Side was probably my favorite, just strictly like horror series. Do you remember Inside the Closet, which was the Tom Savini directed one?
Yeah, with a little monkey thing on it.
Yeah, the little, like whatever the hell that thing was, yeah.
I mean, I do, but I don't. It's another one. I never watched Tales when I was a kid. I never did. I didn't even know where it was. I only watched it for the first time when I bought all the seasons on DVD. And that was my first introduction to that show, except I do remember the music from the beginning, and it must have been... Did that come on, like, very late at night?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
that's probably why, like, I must have, like, kept my TV on at night watching stuff, and maybe it came on when I was, like, half asleep or something. But...
If I'm not mistaken, that show was like a syndicated show. So, like, 11 o'clock, midnight on, like, a Saturday night, it would come on. And it almost seemed like, like I guess the music was part of it, that it was something that you really shouldn't be watching. Like when you hear the opening to it and that.
Yeah.
Man lives in the sunlit world.
I just there's a lot of episodes of that show that I remember vividly, though. I don't even think they're like the most popular episodes, but I remember the Romero one, like I've talked about, where like the kid's trying to get the deed to his family's house from that guy that runs the haunted house. Like you have to go through the haunted house, and if you make it all the way through it, you get like your family's deed.
That was a Halloween episode, right? Yeah.
Yeah, all these kids are showing up, and they're all like getting too scared and running out. And then
the grandpa from Lost Boys.
Yeah, he's the guy. Yeah.
Rich guy in it. Yeah.
And then, oh god, there's a couple of different ones too. There's the one with the 2 vampires that fight each other. I can't remember the name of that one either. The one where they call the number keeps calling them and it causes the guy to have a heart attack. Anyway, like there's a bunch of...
We watched one not too long ago when we were interviewing Ron Sloan, where he was in one and they turned him into... What was it? They turned him into a slice of bread or something in it or whatever. Like,
That's, yeah.
Here's the thing about Tales from the Dark Side, too, though. There's a lot of bad episodes of Tales from the Dark Side as
yes,
well, I think.
There's a lot. You're right.
The last couple of seasons in particular are pretty much, consistently shit.
You know, you know what I'm doing when we get done this? No more Hall of Fame. I'm gonna watch season 1. I'm gonna start that over again. Tales from the Dark Side.
It had some real bangers, as the kids say.
What was the
I love the fact people saying that. It's got bangers.
I want to start using that to be some of my vocabulary, baby.
Yeah.
Was there an episode on that where there was like a trick-or-treater like going to this old guy's house? Was that show?
Yes.
That's the one he was talking about.
Yeah, that's
the one.
Well,
okay.
there's two different ones like that.
It's like a little troll or something, right?
Yeah, that's the other one. You're thinking of the other one, like not the one I'm talking about. There's another one too that has like a trick-or-treater in it, and and he goes and it's a whole different story.
Okay. I'm getting them confused. You know what other one I have too that I used to watch was not when it aired, but I have like the box set. That Hammer House of Horrors. Remember that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I think
I
we
never saw
reviewed
that on
We
TV,
did.
but it had some pretty cool episodes in it. So I get that those two like really kind of confused because they weren't something that I watched growing up.
But yeah, Tales from the Dark Side. I mean, the first season for sure. I mean, that's pretty solid, and then it kind of starts to dwindle down a little bit. Second season's got some good stuff in it, but after that, I remember like because I was excited when I guess it was Paramount or whoever it was, CBS maybe that released it. But that's another show too that the DVDs look terrible now if you put it on a modern TV. And the sad thing is, and we talked to Felcher about this. Same thing with Freddy's Dead. Or I mean, not Freddy's Dead. Freddy's Nightmares. They filmed those shows on film, but they edited those shows on video. So somewhere, possibly, there's the original film elements to Tales from the Dark Side that they could remaster and it could look like $1 million, but it would be a shit ton of work to do. And maybe some of the stuff's not even around anymore, who knows. But I would love to see, everyone's always championing, some past project for Romero. That would be the one that I would
Yeah,
want
that
to do.
amusement park thing was completely fucking worthless. Like they'll spend forever trying to remaster that stuff. They won't do Tales from the Dark Side. So let's put him brush these fucking.
I mean,
teeth
it
out.
could be one of those deals where they don't know where that stuff is. I mean, it could be gone. I don't know.
Yeah, but you know what
So
else too?
mad.
I feel like as much as the quality of the DVDs didn't look that great, they actually did put some time into like the artwork and stuff like that for the discs. I always thought they looked pretty nice, like as far as the how they were. You can display them, and it's got all the spine has. And I just felt like it looked like a good presentation, but yeah, the quality was a little bit
But
black.
I mean, on the bright side, there is a 4K of Flesh Eater that's coming out. So
Yeah,
that'll be key.
that's good news.
I'll keep my DVD on that one.
That's sorry shit I've ever seen. Anyway, all right, let me ask you, like, these are ones that I remembered of Tales from the Crypt. Let me see if you guys remember this. I'll give you the title and then I'll tell you the plot. Here we go. So, Cutting Cards is the one with Lance Henriksen, where they're playing poker and all these, like, blackjack and stuff, and, like, they get to the point they hate each other, and at the end they, like, chop each other up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely remember that one.
And then you got What's Cooking, which is Christopher Reeve and I think Judd Nelson, where he like runs a barbecue, and I can't remember if it's Christopher Reeve, like is the guy that starts it, or if it's Judd Nelson. But anyway, like they start making a fortune off the barbecue, but it turns out like it's people and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
You got Split Personality is the one with Joe Pesci and the two like twins. I don't know if y'all remember that one, or is that Split Personality, or is that? Hold on. I think that's the one with Pesci. That's either the one with Pesci or that's the one with the two like conjoined twins.
Which is the one with Tim Curry where he's like in drag or whatever?
That's the Death of Some Salesman. That's the one where like Ed Begley Jr. shows up at the house, and then Tim Curry's playing like the mother, the father, and the daughter, all the same.
Yeah, I remember that one too.
You got a good memory, dude, because a lot of these to me, like I remember them, but not
See,
to
I
that
could-
extent.
With stuff like that, I could probably remember it if I saw it, but like the
Yeah.
titles of the
Yeah.
episodes and stuff, like I would maybe like to go back and rewatch some of that stuff.
Oh, there was tons of classics that I completely forgot I watched until I was looking up like the names. I was like, oh fuck, I remember that one. Yeah, like
Well, I mean, mainstream theatrical horror stuff was not really that popular around this time period when Tales from the Crypt was on HBO. So a lot of the horror, it was, what was it, Friday nights on HBO? Like all the horror fans, that was what they kind of checked out because there weren't as many movies in the early 90s
yeah.
as they were a decade earlier.
Joe Stradamus brought this one up. This one was called like Forever Ambrosia or Forever Amber. I think it's Forever Ambrosia. That's the one where Daltrey's like the war photographer.
Yeah, I didn't catch this show at all until I think it was on Sunday nights on Fox here around where I am. That's the first time I remember catching this show. I remember hearing about it for so long, and then finally I was able to see it. I think like the first episode I saw, and I don't even know what season this in. It was like something where it was like kind of like a Western one. Mm-hmm.
Is that
they were searching for something? Like I think he had like someone hostage, and they were searching for.
That's Carrion, the one with the vulture, right?
Yes. That was the first one I saw. I can remember sitting in my living room watching it on like a Sunday night or something. And I was being like, "Oh, this show's awesome! I can't wait till next week."
Ben Grimm's got one that say that I kind of remember that. I know I've seen it. The one with the dude.
Oh yeah.
Had a cat brain and he lived for 9 lives. So it's just one of those deals where I've seen it. You know, I probably watched it again when the DVDs came out. But I wonder if that's one of those deals too where it can't really be remastered because you would think that it would already be out on Blu-ray if it was possible.
Yeah, those shows were. I mean, for me, like Tales from the Crypt is the one I remember the most. Like I just grew up watching every episode of that shit.
It was on for a few years too. It's about 6 years. 5 or 6
I'd have to go
years.
back and look. I'm not sure. Seems like that would be about right though. Have to be.
Any other classic horror shows that you guys... I mean, Alfred Hitchcock Presents was one that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
But again, it's been so many years since I've seen those, and I don't even know if they have those out on DVD or anything. But like we were saying earlier, the 80s horror show, and it was just booming at the time, horror in general. And they would play that, reruns of that back in the 80s, So... Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was definitely kind of a niche thing back then, where I think now I feel like we're overloaded with horror-based shows.
Well, if you look at the ones that are really popular now, like they're just like Walking Dead is one that I had on here. That's just not as memorable to me as some of these other shows that we're talking about. I mean, it had a good first couple of seasons, but my God, they've run that shit into the ground.
Yeah, I never really got into Walking Dead too much. I thought the first season was pretty good, and then I kind of got out of it right away, so I haven't watched it ever since. But my uncle's a big zombie fan. He still is watching it. Is it still on, or is he watching Fear the... He's still watching whatever's on still, and I think he's seen every episode. He absolutely loves it. I really was into True Blood for a long time. I don't know if you guys were big into that when it first came out, but when that started coming out, I loved True Blood, man. I think I got all the way to like this one season where there was like fairies and stuff, and I was like, I don't know about this show anymore. But the first couple seasons, man, of that, I was obsessed and addicted to that show. Like I thought it was like the coolest thing. But I still have to kind of finish the series. I don't think I passed maybe season 4 or something, but that was a really good one.
A big one that we left out that definitely we should mention is Masters of Horror that came out.
I know what I was thinking that too earlier, and I was like, I'll wait till later to talk about it. Yeah,
and the early days of the Dead Pit show, man, that was right when that show started, right when our show started, late 2005, if I'm not mistaken.
There was a lot of good ones in that.
Cigarette Burns, Jennifer. I love the
Jennifer was awesome.
Yeah.
Dude,
I love
like
the John Landis one, Family. I like that one a lot too.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yep.
But yeah, that one only lasted 2 seasons. I don't know why. I thought that they could have went on with that. That was one of the early Showtime originals.
Mm-hmm. And then I can remember buying like that Fear Itself, like it was supposed to be a spinoff, but I don't think I ever even watched any of it.
I've still got the crappy like little plastic thing Oh
looks
my
like
God, that show was fucking awful. I mean, I've got a ton just to run through real quick. Okay, Monsters from '88, if you remember that one. Like it had one of the best intros. It wasn't a good show, but it had a good intro. Let's see, Dexter. I put Dexter out there because we didn't really talk about that, but I guess you would classify that as.
Yeah, we've talked about Dexter though.
Ash versus the Evil Dead, which I still think the first season of that was as good as just about anything.
Yeah,
and then,
I loved the first season as well.
Yeah, it just kind of fell apart after that, but like that first season was like a continuation.
They were inspired in the first season.
Yeah. I tell you one that nobody ever talks about that I had on here was Black Summer, which was on Netflix. It's one of the best zombie seasons of a show or whatever that I've ever seen. And
the Netflix thing would be a separate show because there's so much. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it would just. We were talking about what was it, Midnight Mass, not too long ago.
Yeah,
Woo!
that's got to be one of the best ones too.
Yeah, you could do a whole show on Netflix.
Yeah, so let's skip the Netflix stuff, right?
Netflix is going to shoot themselves in the foot soon. I don't know if you guys have heard about this. Real quick.
What's that?
Here. So they're developing this technology where it's basically going to, your ability to share passwords is not going to work anymore. So if you like if you're in a different area, like a different part of the state or something like that, it detects that. And yeah, so it's a bunch of bullshit, man. If that actually happens. Because it's $16 anyway. Like, fuck, I'm just...
Greedy bunch of bitches.
Yeah. Netflix.
Fuck 'em.
Assholes.
Bunch of shitheads.
If it wasn't for my wife, I wouldn't have Netflix. I'm just being honest with you. I'd probably...
There's some good stuff on there.
I'd get it 1 month out of the year to watch Cobra Kai, and that'd probably be about it. And I'd catch up on everything else in that month.
I really do feel like you could get it all done in a month, yeah. I mean, there's not that much good stuff. It comes and goes really, really quick.
What about Garrett with Netflix? We've never talked about that. Do you have anything on Netflix you watch on a semi-regular basis?
Not really. Cobra Kai, I watched Midnight Mass, I'll watch Stranger Things, and that's really it. Like, there's a lot of stuff on there that people have been talking about that I haven't even checked out yet. Like, I actually watch more documentary style stuff on there, if anything, but somebody keeps talking about this. I keep hearing about this movie Fresh. Is that on Netflix?
Oh, yeah. It's on Hulu.
Okay. I haven't watched that yet, but I know people keep talking about it.
I'm sure you guys have checked this one out. It's called, it's a documentary, like a true crime documentary called Don't Fuck with Cats is the name of it.
I didn't watch it, but I've heard about it. I just didn't want to watch anything with like animal shit.
Well, that's the problem. I mean, but the story itself in that, like, I cannot believe that I'd never heard about that before. I'd never heard about that guy. It's just very, like, it's wild. That movie is.
Like, do you know that one, Making a Murderer? Did you guys watch that? Like, I loved that.
They don't have enough stuff like that on there. If they did, I would be fine.
There's one on there right now that I watched that I think is as good as any of those. It's called, I know this sounds crazy, but it's called Bad Vegan.
I just heard about that today.
Dude, it's freaking awesome. Like, I watched the whole thing almost. Like, it's one of those ones where once you get into it, you get sucked into, like, what's happening. You end up watching, like, 3 or 4 episodes.
I'll check it out, because I watched another one that someone recommended to me called The Tinder Swindler.
Yeah, that's another one, too.
Yeah, I think Sarah watched some of that.
But, yeah, they have some cool stuff like that. And was that where that freaking guy with Tiger King, was that on Netflix?
Yeah. Yeah, that's where all that started.
Cool. Overrated.
Yeah.
You didn't like Tiger King?
Fuck no. That shit's stupid.
God.
I honestly didn't like it. Yeah, it's like, whatever.
But I think one of the only ones
flea market
that we haven't talked about is the Creep Show series, which I own, but I haven't watched yet, the new one. And the new Chucky show, which everybody's praising, and I watched the first episode, and I haven't watched anything else after that, so I can't really say anything about either of those two.
Everybody's putting over Don't Fuck with Cats, Garrett. So if they have a animal cruelty free version of that, you can
I'm gonna need to watch that one. Yeah.
One other quick thing on here, because we knew this show would run long. TV cuts in movies. They did this a lot back in the day. And there was a website that I found. I sent it to you guys. I don't know if you looked at it.
I opened it, but I'm using my phone as my camera, so I can't look at it.
There's hundreds of different cuts. Like, a lot of the movies back in the day, and most of them were like Friday the 13th movies, Halloween, just different cuts that they would film different scenes for the TV version, right? Mm-hmm. So the most famous one like that would be Halloween. Like, everyone knows about that one. And that was the first one when we discussed this show, that they had actually went back after the fact when they were starting to film Halloween 2 and filmed a couple of scenes to kind of pad out the stuff that they had to cut out of the theatrical version for TV.
I mean, think about that though. Like how cool that is in the sense of like how much they gave a shit about something like that.
Yeah.
You know,
because the TV network debut was a big deal back in the day. I mean, that's how people saw movies. There was no HBO. It was all on network TV. And one of the most interesting things about the TV cut of Halloween, and this just come out not too long ago, our good buddy Sean Clark figured this out. And this is insane. So the house that they have filmed the scene with PJ Souls and Jamie Lee Curtis, the reshoot for the TV cut, is the Elm Street house from Nightmare on Elm Street, the original. It's the same house. And you can go back and watch that video on Sean Clark's channel. He goes into detail about that. That's just a weird little anecdote about that cut and those two movies.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts to even think about, but yeah. I'm all out of shit though. I ain't got any.
We're all out of shit. So
Yeah, I got I got nothing else. Besides like some of the current stuff like American Horror Story, which again I don't watch a lot of these shows, so I don't really have anything to say about it, but I just know that
right,
they're out there and there's a lot.
That's another show that went on for just far too fucking long. That was really good, like in the beginning, and then they just destroyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought the first season was pretty good, but it's just so hard for me to keep up with all these shows and stuff like that. So like Cobra Kai is easy because they drop it all at once, and I can just kind of spend a day just binging it. Where if I had to watch it week by week, I probably would have gave up because I just don't have that.
You have to put a lot of dedication into a TV show, really. I mean,
listen, Dirk Hall is really wanting to super chat, and he's pissed off that he can't. So whatever you're doing,
probably because you know why you're probably on my channel. If you're on my channel, I don't think it shows it. If you go on theirs, it does because I need to get to 1,000 subs, dude. So I need to get to 1,000 before I can monetize. So if you're not subscribed to me, do it because I'm almost there.
You're very close. So if anybody has not subbed to Born2BeRad, Born the number 2 BeRad, check it out. And if you're on his channel and you haven't subbed to DEADPIT, it's real simple. Just search for DEADPIT. We own that fucking name.
You get so violent about it, God.
Some other cool stuff that we've got coming up. Garrett's got a show. Mention that again tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, 9:30. It's an Are You Afraid of the Dark revisited, and we're going to talk about the episode The Nightly Neighbors. So if you guys want to check that out, we do like a watch along. So it's actually you can watch it with us on there. It's
cool.
You don't even have to have Nickelodeon up or whatever. We got it playing, so you guys can watch it with us. We'll do a little commentary over it and give you our review. So check that out. It's episode 1 of Are You Afraid of the Dark Revisited tomorrow night at 9:30, and then we get another busy day Sunday.
Dude, this whole fucking weekend's gonna be busy. I have to work tomorrow, by the way.
So do I.
I have to be at work at 8 o'clock tomorrow.
I gotta be in at 6:45.
Oh fuck! How you gonna do that?
Lord God.
I'll go fall asleep to Tales from the Dark Side, wake up, drink caffeine, and go to work for 6:45.
So, WrestleMania is 2 nights. Not 1 tomorrow, not 2 Sunday nights. And it's a pre-show for our show. Hallmania.
Oh shit.
We're gonna
that might be a long one, guys.
It's gonna be the longest one, I'm telling you.
I get a lot of
really
stuff over
is.
here.
I'm saving a special package for that show as well.
Oh daddy.
It's sitting right here. And
You know what the sad part is we're gonna do Hallmania and everything. I'm gonna show so much that's like still sealed.
I'm the same way, yeah.
I haven't even opened any of it yet, and I'm like, where the hell am I gonna store this stuff once we're done? Like, I literally have like no shelf space right now. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it.
No, whenever I have any free time, I am boxing all of my 90% of my DVDs up, so I'll have room. That's about the only thing I can do at this point.
Yeah, you have to at some point.
Also, Uncle Bill, you had some announcements, or do you want to make them on here, or I don't?
I don't give a shit. I think we can make them on wherever. Like,
Yeah.
so we do. Here's what we're gonna do: Tuesdays with Fulci, which is a rambunctious new series that I'm doing. Nobody uses rambunctious enough anymore. So this Tuesday at 9, I want to be doing Manhattan Baby and Conquest, but we're gonna save the Psychic for pretty much like the finale, where CK and I are going to review the Psychic and maybe Murder Rock. And we're going to rank all of our favorite Fulci films in that one, too. And then there's a big announcement at the end of that final show, too, about another show that'll be coming up. So you gotta watch all the shows. They all connect.
Lots of shows.
It's piece to piece. You know, you got to put them together.
Look around. See what? It's the never-ending show.
It is. It never stops.
I can't remember all the lyrics.
We never stop, never stopping.
Never gonna stop. Yeah. Yeah, never gonna stop.
Are you guys gonna watch Mania at all?
We're gonna watch what?
Mania. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh.
we always watch that.
I think I'll probably try to catch a little of it tomorrow. And
By the
Sunday.
way, what a horrible fucking match list for that show. Like, does that need to be 2 nights?
It really doesn't, to be honest with you.
I don't really know the matches except Brock and Roman. What I'm actually really curious about, to be honest, is I haven't really been watching wrestling, but I'm really curious about this whole Cody Rhodes thing, because it's still one of those things to me. It just seems like it can't be real. Like, in the sense that, like, what kind of contract could they have given this dude for him to leave everything he had to come back over? He's not going to come back over, sign his name on a dotted line to be just put back to where he was. He's a lot smarter of a guy than that nowadays. So I'm curious to see what this is all about, number one. And everybody's saying he's going to be Seth's secret opponent, but how does Vince connect the dots here? Because they said Vince is going to announce it, right, at Mania, who he's facing. Now, how does Vince and Cody connect? Is it just going to be random? Oh, I picked this guy. Or are they going to have like a...
I don't
is
think
there going to be like some kind of
fucking-
like connection, like, right?
Well,
Like,
somebody had posted on one of those wrestling groups on Facebook as a joke that it would be Ryback instead of Cody Rhodes, right? Who would be the... And I put it on there, I was like, Ryback honestly would get a bigger pop than Cody would if he come back. I mean, I honestly feel that. I mean, seriously.
I think they both would, but I actually saw online that, and I don't know if this was an April
Ryback.
Fool's joke, but I think somebody posted this, and I was like, dude, like, it better not be. All of a sudden, like, your opponent, it's like, here comes the money. I'm like, dude, don't. They
they'll
can't do
boo
that.
him
But I'm
out
like,
of that fucking place.
that would be something they would do, right? Like, I feel like that would be the real answer. And I'm
Honestly,
like,
though, like with Cody, though, if it is him, which, I mean, I think it's possible it could be somebody else just to throw a curveball out there. Everybody's expecting it to be him. But after, 3 or 4 weeks, he is going to be like Ricochet or something. Like, they're not going to... I can't see them using him as, like, a top guy. I just can't see it.
yeah, but why would he ever go back then if he's not going to be promised something big, like for just the money to be he left there because of those reasons. He's not going to go back. I don't know. To me, it just doesn't seem, it just seems weird to me that
It is odd, yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I don't know exactly what the deal is. I mean, WWE's got money to burn, though. So, I mean, if they just wanted to kind of get him away from AEW, he was one of their main guys. I mean, if you look on DirecTV, if you look up Dynamite, it's still got his picture on it. So maybe they're thinking, well, here's your marquee guy. We're taking him from you. I mean, that could be...
You think about all the shit that he did for that company, too. That's what makes it hilarious for me. Like, he took a caning, like fucking Sandman, Tommy Dreamer style. He got a tattoo on his neck. He basically gave up his whole life for, 2 or 3 years to do that.
Well, what's also weird, too, is it's like, remember all that time he was, like, destroying things with the sledgehammer, like, bashing WWE and, like, pretending he was, like, hitting Triple H and stuff like that? Like, that to me is why I'm still, like... I'm curious because I'm not sure. Like,
Texas has got to get, and I think this could be possible. I mean, he said that, heard a rumor it's going to be Shane O'Mac, and then the show after Mania, Cody shows up. I mean, I don't know if it'll be Shane, but I think it's possible it could be somebody else, and then Cody's there the next night.
If it's Shane, they will boo him. Like, I guarantee it. Like, he's getting X-Pac heat at this point. Like, they will boo him out of there.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see, and especially with Cody. Like, I mean, they could use another main eventer, but I'm curious to see how they would use him because he's not. I don't know. Like, it seems to me like he could be a main star, but at the same time, it's hard to picture that.
Yeah,
in WWE.
I don't. I was going to say I don't see him as being like a main star under Vince because that's just not the type of guys that Vince ever puts in there. It's the type of guys that AEW does, but like I just don't see it.
Uncle Bill, do you have a copy of Fulci's only crime film,
No.
Contraband?
No, I do not.
I don't have that one either. Yeah, but guys, we're going to get rolling on here. The Hall of Mania shows directly after WrestleMania. So if WrestleMania ends at 10:30, we'll be there probably 5 minutes later or 10 minutes later, however long it is. So, and try to go through that stuff kind of
What if it ends at midnight?
Fuck, that'll probably be my luck. It'll be midnight.
Then Hall of Mania canceled.
Hall of Mania. Let's get through this shit in 10 minutes.
Oh, shit.
Just be throwing shit at the screen. Here.
Got this. Ready to go. Yeah.
One last thing. A week from tonight, and Garrett, if you want to join us on this, you can. We are doing an interesting fan commentary requested by a patron. Yeah. And it's one that we haven't talked about at all. I don't think we've ever reviewed it on the show or anything. So it'll be fun to kick back and watch from 1979, Ridley Scott film Alien.
Isn't that movie like fucking 2 hours and 30 minutes or something like that?
Probably. I think it's at least 2 hours. So
great movie, though. Great movie.
It's a piece of shit. I'm just kidding.
No!
Wouldn't that be awesome if I thought that? Okay, movie.
It's one that I have not watched in a while, though. I'll say that. Whenever the Blu-ray set come out, that's the last time I watched it.
So I said this I did a video about like top films in 1984 or whatever, and I said the same thing about Terminator. As a kid, I always loved Terminator 2 better, but now I like Terminator better. And that's the same with Alien. Like, I loved Aliens like my whole life, but I feel like now I enjoy Alien more than I do the sequel.
See, I agree with you. I agree with both those, yeah.
So it's very interesting.
Dirk Hall says, sit back, relax, and drink some champagne from my Aretha Franklin. I'm not going to say that.
Oh, my goodness. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, guys, hey, thanks for hanging out with us tonight late.
Yeah, we appreciate it, guys. Check us out. Garrett's channel, Born2BeRad. And check us out over at DEADPIT.com. Give us thumbs up.
Up your butts.
Like, subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a if you do.
I want you to. I don't care. Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that, pal.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. And click that bell.
For this video officially, and it's Old Curly Jaws has a message for you. Go on over to shop.deadpit.com and go look at their Team Public store right now. You've got some new shirts like the Old Curly Jaws official t-shirt, which is brutal and badass. You got the Yummy Gummy shirt with the captain himself on the shirt. You got Uncle Bill's face on a fucking shirt. You got the Final Girl shirt. You got all these shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Get them before they're all out, especially the new one, Bedtime 1039. It doesn't get better than that, so go on out. Check out these shirts at shop.deadpit.com. Go look at their Team Public store. You're going to have a good old time. Get them all.
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. Dead Pit on Patreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows and fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.